All right. All right. Well, hey, everybody. I am so thrilled that you stopped by to my little webinar. This is Reality Professional Speaking with Tom Antion, for those of you that don't know me. I'm so glad that you're here. Those of you that do know me, I'm also glad that you're here. But I see a lot of old friends on the attendee list, and I think they know that I'm going to give you great value. That's the only way I roll. And you're going to have plenty of immediately usable information. Now, if you do have, those of you rolling in have a chance, the blinking arrow there is pointing towards antion.com/speaker webinar. And please tweet it or Facebook it or Google want it or email it to any friends that you think would benefit from this. And I can swear to you they will appreciate you for it. So let's get rolling here. I mean, there's tons of things you need to know about professional speaking, but this one is going to really take you deep into how, for many years, I've maximized the value of speaking engagements. Every time I go, it's more than just flapping my gums. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let's see if we can advance this slide. And we always start out with telling you that, you know, a lot of you know the plan here. I've got an enormous reputation for giving you great value, and I'm never going to let you down on that. And you can also be darn sure that I am going to offer you something to buy later on. But here's the deal. Only after I totally deliver on my promise to show you how to maximize the amount of money you could make on every single speaking engagement. That's the only way, if I do that job, that I'm going to make an offer to you. And I'm going to show you the offer. It's the best-selling professional speaking course ever on the internet. It's called the Wake 'em Up Video Professional Speaking System. And I'm going to have lowest price ever for 10 years and tons of bonuses. So don't worry about this being not affordable for you. Because this training is invaluable for you. So I'll tell you more about that later. So the first thing I want to go into is what we're going to cover today. Well, I'm going to teach you the absolute fastest way to make more money speaking. I'm going to tell you how to use very specialized publicity to make more money speaking. There's a lot of things, both offline and online, but some very specialized one for speaking that I want to tell you about. I'm going to tell you how to handle multiple bookings. I'm going to tell you 12 different ways to increase your income when you're on a paid speaking engagement, as opposed to a public speaking engagement where you may go free and try to sell at the back of the room. I'm going to show you how to handle deposits and cancellations to your best benefit. And I'm going to show you how to sell when you're not allowed to sell. That is a really important skill to have because a lot of places do not allow back of the room sales. Now, see that red X there? I'm also going to teach you how to earn money from, we don't do free speeches anymore, folks. We call them no-fee speeches, and you're going to learn why during the course of the next couple hours. You're also going to learn why you should avoid certain public events, like the plague, really. I didn't do these for about 6 years. You're going to learn a little bit about selling at the back of the room and how I beat everybody. I haven't, as far as I know, I have not been beaten in 10 years at the back of the room sales at any event that I've been to. And like in all my events, you're going to get much more. All right. Plus, for those of you that stick with me all the way to the end, you're going to get 3 bonus super techniques, very little known techniques to really make more money at every speaking engagement. All right. Now, what this webinar is not, it's not about getting speaking engagements. It's not about getting them. It's about maximizing the value when you have a speaking engagement, whether you're getting paid a check or you're participating in a public seminar where each person pays money to register. You'll have an opportunity to learn how to get a speaking engagement later when I make my offer, But for those of you newbies out there that haven't gotten speaking engagements yet, you have to know this. So when you do get a speaking engagement, you'll know what to do to really make more money at it, and that'll get you ramped up faster. All right. So why should you listen to me? I know there's a lot of people on here who have known me for a long time, but there's a lot of new folks on here too. So first of all, and I don't really know exactly anymore. I lost track a long time ago, but I've done over 2,700 paid presentation in 12 countries. I really think it's closer to 3,000, but I kind of lost track when it didn't matter anymore. I was the past president of the National Capital Speakers Association. I have the longest running speaking blog on the internet. I have the longest running speaker shop on the internet. I've been asked to train at the prestigious National Speakers Association to teach other professional speakers. Really, it's been more than 95 times. I think it's 97 to date. So I've been around a little bit. And I'm usually the highest grossing speaker, no matter who else is speaking, doesn't matter what their name is, I usually win. And you're going to learn a lot of the reasons why. Also, I have the largest e-zine in the world on pro-level speaking. And I've spoken from Barnes all the way to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission boardroom. I've also been asked to critique President Bush on his speech to Congress by MSNBC. So I've been around a little bit. So what I say is from real world hard knocks, not any kind of book report or theory. All right, a little bit about my story, and this is going to bring your first learning point up. And this is another thing you got to figure out about me, is that I'm a born teacher. I cannot help but throw in extra tips whenever I think of them. And in this particular case, I wanted to tell you a little bit about me, but also teach you something at the same time. So I have a somewhat of a colorful past, I might say. But the tip is what I want you to do is go back as far as you can remember when you were a little boy or little girl and jot down little things that you remember of what happened to you and what you learned from them. This is what makes you a unique speaker. You're not just looking at a storybook for speakers and telling the same stupid starfish story over 100 times. You've got unique things from your background, so use them. And they might not be crazy like a lot of mine, but the fact is that every single one of you out there has stories that'll touch people's hearts and teach them something. And, the side effect of that is you'll make more money because you're unique. Now, I never had a job past college. I've always had my own business for the past 33 years. I was a freelance charter pilot for a while, so I flew executives all around the country. I owned a nightclub and a pizza shop where I was in 2 full-blown gunfights, knife fights, and numerous altercations with bikers trying to kill me. They blew up my car with shotgun blasts. Thank God I wasn't in it, but they tried to burn down my billboard. So some of you are aware that I'm involved in a little bit of controversy by attacking some maggot-type speakers out there in the marketplace that are ruining our industry. So when those sissy, sociopaths try to intimidate me, I kind of laugh right in their face, because after you've been in gunfights and bikers trying to kill you, some little sissy speaker is not gonna stop me from doing my thing. So anyways, try to stay out of the gunfights. That's one reason I got out of that business. I started, and I decided when I got out of that, I was going to start a really fun entertainment company. It was called Prank Masters. We custom designed practical jokes, and I did everything under the sun. So if you don't think I paid my dues, folks, check this out. I make a scary-looking clown. All right, I think that baby peed on my leg, by the way. I dressed up in all kinds of costumes. I did, it was kind of like Punk'd and Candid Camera put together, but it was live. You could hire me to do this stuff. And by the time I got done, I had 35 people working for me, and we did over 4,000 jobs in and around the Washington, D.C. area. There's me with Kathy Lee Crosby. I think that's her name. She hired me to do Joe Theismann's 40th birthday party. And you think I'm big now, those of you that know me. I was really big then, and I had to wear like a big robe to cover me up to be a preacher. And I guarantee you, you haven't been on a webinar with anybody that's done more gorillograms than me. All right, so I paid my dues, and I triple guarantee you that you've never been on a webinar with anybody that's been to Santa school. And there's a lot of things to know about being a Santa. So if you ever question whether I've paid my dues in this business or not, just think about me going to Santa school. But you know what? When I got into professional speaking, I was pretty much a pea-brain when it comes to professional speaking. I didn't know about microphones. I didn't know about meeting rooms and chair setups and sound systems, none of that, because I was mostly doing stand-up type things at parties and events. So I bought in fact, this slide is wrong. There wasn't even CDs when I was doing this. I bought every book and tape I could possibly find on speaking, and I have quite a few of them today. This is just one of the 3 libraries I have at my house here, the Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center, and hundreds of books on speaking. So I studied like crazy to learn this craft, and a lot of this stuff I'm boiling it down for you tonight. Then I got a consultation with Dottie Walters, the kind of the grandmother of professional speaking, and I know you got to put your sunglasses on with that shiny suit, but back in those days that was cool. So as soon as I got good training, guess what happened? My income started going up. I mean, isn't that crazy how if you learn how to do something and get the proper knowledge, you can make more money with it? So that's what happened to me. No hocus pocus to it. It's just I learned what to do, and I went from being a comedian basically to a top pro speaker. That's what I'm trying to teach you today. I joined the National Speakers Association. I think I've been in there 21 years or so and learned lots of stuff from there. And since then, I hit multimillionaire status around the year 2000. I became consumer debt-free somewhere around 10 years ago. I really don't remember exactly, and that's a nice weight off your head. And that all came from a combination of speaking and internet marketing. And we're going to concentrate on the speaking part now. Okay, now, this is a little bit harsh, but I'm claiming my ownership of this kind of material. See, I created most of this material during the years 1991 to 1994. Of course, not the internet stuff and not the updated stuff. And I formalized it in the Wake 'em Up book. A lot of colleges use that. The Make 'em Laugh system and the Wake 'em Up video professional speaking system. And I got to warn you, there's many people teaching this in live seminars today. They're basically using my material to suck you in, to sell you sometimes $50,000 advanced training where you get ripped off. So be careful and be warned. In fact, I'm developing a documentary and a TV show to go after these bad apples. Okay, so let's have a poll. I want to get the pulse of where you are. For those of you just checking in, you have a dashboard or a question box underneath your video. So if you happen to have the dashboard, you can communicate with us like that. And then, so I see Diane says, wow, Tom, I didn't know about your shady past. Michelle says, too funny, you know how to make money. Bullets and Gunsmoke, love it, Jason. So we're going to do a little poll here. Let me open this up, and I want to get a feel for where everybody's at. Now, some of you will be able to click right on the poll for your answer, and some of you will just type your answer in your question box below, and then you keep your email open if you want any response from us. So let me figure out how to do this. Here's polls. Select the poll. Okay, here we go. And launch. All right, so let's see what happens. Okay. Does everybody see it? Can you see it, Colin? Is it up there? All right, good. All right, the poll question is do you know at least 20 totally different ways to increase your income on any speaking engagement? And the answers are yes, no, or maybe if the speaking fairy reminded me of them. All right. All right, so we'll leave it open there. We'll see your answers coming in. We've got, go ahead and click right on it if you can. If not, just type your answer in the question box beneath it. And we'll leave it open for another 10 seconds here. So we got about 78% of the vote in, or the 79%. count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm going to close that poll, and then we're going to see what the results were before we get started. Click share. Let's see what we got. Okay, it looks like 66% no, plus another. So we got a lot of people. Only 5% of you say yes. So I can swear to you, I'm going to give you a lot. That's going to switch around like crazy by the time I get done with you. So let's hide that poll, and then we'll get rolling here for you. Okay. All right. Ready to roll here. Sharp pencils out there. The number one way to make more money speaking. Number one by far. You ready? Raise your darn fee. And I'm not trying to be funny. Okay. Although it is kind of funny. Raise your darn fee. And I'll tell you why you must raise your fee, even if it makes you nervous. And even if you say, well, people are having trouble paying the fee I got now. Raise your fee. All right. Let me talk to you about this. First of all, charging too little will make you suspect. And a story from my past, when I broke in, I had already done 1,000 comic presentations, and people in the National Capital Speakers Association that were elders told me I was better than people charging $5,000 at the time. This was in 1991, okay? So I thought, gee, I'll charge $500 and I'll just clean up. I mean, that was 5 times as much as I was getting for my comic jobs. So I thought, I'll clean up. You know what? I could not get one job at $500. None. Everybody thought there must be something wrong with you. I must be a womanizer. I must be a drunk. I must not show up. I might be racist, sexist. There must be something wrong if somebody's supposed to be so good as only charging $500. So the first professional speech I had was $1,250, only because somebody canceled and I was the only one that could get there on time. And that was $1,250 to start off my career in 1991. So do not be too cheap. It makes you suspect. And also, charging too little keeps you from being able to make deals. See, I'm going to go over some deals with you during the course of this evening that you can't make if your fee is too low, because it puts you way down too low that you just can't make any money. But you've got to keep your fee up so that you can make some of these deals. All right. And then here's a good skill you got to get. You got to get good at being nonchalant. Now, the definition of nonchalant is having an air of easy unconcern or indifference. In other words, you have to be able to say your fee like it's just nothing to it. It's just everyday occurrence, when inside you may be choking and just dying. But if you even let them have a breath that you are nervous about saying that fee, they've heard it all before, you'll never get the job. They'll be able to tell that you're desperate. So this is really hard to do when you really need to pay the rent. But you've got to be able, and I expect you to practice it. Just say, hey, my fee is $5,000, and I throw in 100 books with that, or I'm going to teach you that trick later. But you've got to be nonchalant. If they sniff you're desperate, there's no way you're getting the job. Okay, the first topic we're going to cover to make more money every time you speak is publicity. Now, the more you can build up your name beforehand, and that means if you're going for a paid speaking engagement, or if you're speaking at a public speaking event where they have to buy your stuff. The more you can build up your name beforehand, the more they will pay, and the less resistance you'll have for the fee, and the more attendees will buy your stuff. It's just as simple as that. The better known you are, the better you'll do. And that's why some of these celebrities, they're so well known, they have no content, they have no skills on stage, and they still get paid a fortune just because people have heard of them. So you have to be great on stage and know what you're doing and get your name around. Okay, now, right here, write this link down, antion.com/publicityhound TOC. That's capital TOC.htm. some of you bought this book actually when you signed in for this event, but this gives you the table of contents and a free chapter on publicity, how to get your name out. It's how I've been on radio and TV all over the world. So make sure you take advantage of that free resource. But you got to plan ahead on this. You can't just all of a sudden get a lead for a job and then get all this publicity. You got to learn the publicity, and you've got to learn internet reputation management. You've got to spread your name all over the internet. And you got to do it in a legitimate fashion. I mean, I caught somebody with their pants down, some asshole speaker that put out hundreds and hundreds of things saying, I'm not a scammer, and here's an article about, hey, I'm not a scammer. and the reason it's ridiculous is because he looked like a super fool when I made this public. The second thing is it doesn't work because Google hates these crap sites with no content on them. So a legitimate site that said he was a scammer went right to the top and passed him up and wasted all of that, made him look foolish. See, so that's not reputation management. Reputation management is getting your name mentioned lots of times in substantial places, and if you learn how to do this, your name will be everywhere. And when I used to go for paid speaking, people would call and say, well, you know, somebody recommended you, but we haven't heard of you. And I would say, and I try not to be a smart aleck about it, well, just type my name into Google and pack a lunch, because you're going to be there for a while. I mean, at one time when I really cared about this, I had 150,000 mentions. And this was, I don't know, 10 years ago. So you've got to get your name out there so that there's less fee resistance. And when people do get to meet you in person, they buy more. Okay. Now this next one, really, really, really important. This is a type of specialized speaker publicity. I want you to, every single time you speak, jockey for front cover positioning on the program where you speak. Jockey for front cover positioning. See, this helps you not at that event, but it helps you at future events, because when you see, when I do, what happens with me is when I'm on the front cover, I go and gather up all the extras, and if people after the event, I go scarf up all the ones laying around, and I keep them to put in my future press kits. And when people see that you were the main event, or at least appears that you were the main event at the past one, they give you more money without hassling you, and it's an easier sell because they say, wow, if somebody else had you as the main featured speaker, then we should too. Now, one thing you can do is to offer to sponsor the program. In other words, offer to pay for the program. In fact, I would go as far as reducing my fee if they put me on the cover of the program with knowing what I know now. Because every time I would put that in a press kit, it just made so much easier that the next job came easier. So you could offer to pay for their program as a sponsor if you get front cover positioning, or reduce your fee. Because when you get the front cover positioning, it sends the message to the audience members also. You're the most important person on the program. Now, whether that's true or not is very debatable. But the thing is that's what it appears to be, because you acted like a professional, which is one of the things I said that I was going to teach you how to do when you came on this webinar, is act like a darn professional. And this is one of the things you do. You jockey for front cover positioning, and you appear to be the number one most important person on that program. That makes everything so much easier. Okay, here's an example. This goes way back to, I don't know, 2003. I was getting front cover positioning. Had I known it earlier, I'd have had years before this, I would have been doing it. But I learned this trick a long time ago. And this is if you can get a magazine cover in your industry. I have, I think, 3 or 4 of them. But that really sends the message, wow, if you're the cover of a magazine in your industry, you must be a hotshot in your industry. So jockey for this stuff. All of this stuff came pretty much free because I had already built up my status. But what I'm saying is plenty of people are doing it now that don't have half the status that you have. They just were smart enough to go do these things. Okay. Another thing to do for publicity is offer pre-event webinars or teleseminars. So, and offer to also be on them. So you say to the promoter, you know, I'd be happy to do a pre-event webinar for you or a teleseminar, and you promote it, and I'll tell how great the event's going to be and how thrilled I am to be there and tell them what I'm going to teach them. And now you just got exposed to, you know, the whole crowd that's coming to this event before you got there. In fact, write this down. This has been my motto for years. I want people to love me before I even get in the country I'm speaking in. Think about that. I want them to love me before I even get in that country. I want them to be anticipating meeting me. And this is the kind of stuff that does it. You can also throw a webinar or a teleseminar and interview the promoter, which gives you big brownie points for helping them promote. Okay? Now, next thing is great titles, how this makes you more money. Example of this one, I was doing a speech at the Greenbrier, a big fancy place in West Virginia, which is kind of oxymoron, right? Fancy place in West Virginia. I can say that because I spent 13 years there one day, right? So I'm doing this real estate convention. Well, I'm not a real estate agent, broker, nothing. Why they picked me, I had no idea. Somebody saw me somewhere and said, oh, bring him on. And so, and I'm not the general session speaker either. Some New York Times bestseller guy is. So I'm dumped in with 16 other real estate speakers, and there's me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what I got to do something because I'll look like a goober if I'm there with no attendees. So I interviewed a bunch of real estate agents, and I found that it's a really frustrating job. They got to use their own car, own gasoline, insurance. People lie to them. They're using 10 different agents, and you kind of keep the kids quiet while you're selling the house. Very frustrating job. So I wrote a title, How to Make the Sale When You Just Backed Over the Mailbox. And my session out of 16 real estate speakers was packed, and there was sparse population in the rest of the rooms. That's what I'm talking about as being a pro. You just don't show up and cross your fingers at these things. You act like a pro and do a great title for your event so it gets more people there. All right. Next is offer to make a pre-event promo video. I just made 3 of them day before yesterday for events that I'm speaking in January, February, and March. And again, when I do this, the promoter's like, wow, you did this, and look, and now you can't use a crappy flip cam for this. These are high quality videos we shoot. But I introduce myself and I say, hi, it's Tom, and I can't wait to see you in Orange County for so-and-so event. And I tell everything I'm going to tell, and I talk about my early bird session, which I'll tell you about later. And then I say, and don't forget, there's other great speakers there. And then I maybe say 1 or 2 sentences about them. All right. So again, I've taken the time to use my video guys, my expensive equipment, and my time to act like a pro. And then they put it on their website, and who looks like the main honcho? Of course, I do. All right. So offer to make, in fact, don't even offer, make one and give it to them. If they don't use it, okay, that's the breaks. But I've never had somebody not use it. All right. You may have somebody not use it, but I've never had. All right. That's a really, really good one. Okay. Another thing you can do is get their publicity people. Remember, if you're speaking at a big event, they have a PR firm. So you just offer, hey, look, you know, I'm going to come in early. If you'd like me to do some local publicity for your event, I'd be happy to. And none of the other speakers will call them and say that. You'll be the only one. They'll say, you do that. Absolutely, I do that. I'll do anything to help your event. You know, you put your faith in me, I certainly will. So their PR firm will have you on radio and TV in the local market, putting you in front of millions of people, and you didn't have to spend a nickel other than maybe an extra day in the hotel because you thought of this and gave it to the promoter, and it cost them nothing. They've got PR firms on retainer anyway, see? So great tip there is do publicity.
Here we go. Multiple engagements at different locations means that you book the first one, and then when you find out that they have other meetings, you suggest that you could get they could get a discount for booking you at multiple engagements because you don't have to customize as much. And now the real critical key on these is everything has to be on the same contract, and I'm going to get to that in a minute after we cover some of these other multiple engagements. Multiple engagements at the same event, and some could be on the same day and some could be on different days. My philosophy is I want to make it easy for them to give me more money, especially if I was going to be there anyway, because all I'd be doing is watching Oprah reruns the whole time. So if I'm there, I want to maximize. So I remember when I was charging, I don't know, 15 to 20,000, I would just charge them an extra 1,000 to do a breakout session because I was already there. So make it easy for them to give you more money, and it does save them a lot of money because they don't have to bring another speaker and a hotel and airfare and per diem and all that. So that's multiple engagements at the same event, either the same day or different days if you can fit it in your schedule, as long as they pay the extra expenses. Now, here's the key to all of this. All of this must be on the same contract. See, there are unscrupulous promoters out there and meeting planners who will say, oh, you'll give us a discount. Great. And then they give you the money for the first one at a deep discount, and then the other ones never materialize. In other words, they just hoodwinked you to get a cheap deal. So the whole thing has to be on the same contract with the appropriate deposits, which we'll talk a little bit later about. So that's multiple engagements at different locations. And how does that make you more money at any particular one? Well, it doesn't. It makes you less, but overall you get way more with a lot less hassle. So multiple engagements you want to shoot for. Okay, now, if you're doing these, if they don't know you well, like some of the events I go back every year, but if they don't know you well, do the general session first. Try to do the big event first, and then they get to see how great you are, and you wow them, and then your breakout session is packed. If you're doing a breakout, some of them down in Australia are called syndicates, and various concurrent sessions is another name for it, but that's where there's a bunch of other speakers. Because you don't want to do the breakout session first if they don't know you, because nobody will attend, or there won't be anything special then. And you want to, always be seen as the special event, when you go places. So now if they do know you, like when I go into an early bird session, people have already heard of me for years, and so it doesn't make much difference which one I do first. But if they don't know you, do the general session first. Okay, paid speaking. Let's get into that. First of all, to maximize the money, you want to pre-sell your products. Pre-sell. And that means you get the job first. Remember, you're always going to, one thing at a time, get the job first. Then you suggest some type of educational materials is the term we use for it. And you want to really write that word down, or that phrase down, because that's the way they show it as a line item on the budget for these events. And I want you to put that on your fee schedule, put educational materials available. I actually put it on my contract because when I was doing this paid speaking, because sometimes they get right down to the end and they've already booked you to speak, but now they have some budget left over and they say, hey, Antion has, books and stuff he'll sell us, let's use it up for that. And so you just got to keep in front of their face all the time with that term, educational materials. Like I said, put it on your agreements. That's what I just said. Now, next thing is use your product in your event. And I just can't imagine why more speakers haven't taken me up on this. I do not use PowerPoint during my speeches. I use Camtasia videos where I record things and do screen captures and just show stuff off my desktop. So there's a couple great things about this. Number one, nobody ever comes up to offer to buy your PowerPoint. They might ask you for the slides for free, but in my case, I show videos, and I might say, hey, I've got 50 videos on this CD, but we can only have time to show 2 or 3 today. Then I'm not selling, but the people in the crowd say, hey, we want the rest of those videos, and they go up and bug the meeting planner, hey, how come he can't, get us these? And then they might buy a bunch of them, see? So use your product in your event, not just PowerPoint. Another thing when you do paid speaking, sell follow-up teleseminars and webinars. Now, the whole thing in the world today of speaking is return on investment. People in the old days, they would just hire you just to have fun. But now they've got to get a return on the investment. So what you do is you suggest, after you wow them, or sometimes you can do it ahead of time if they know your reputation, you say, look, I'm going to give them a lot of great information, but implementation is always the tough part. So why don't we book a follow-up webinar or teleseminar? It only costs you another $1,000. I'll do a special one just for all the attendees, and we'll record it in case they can't be there if they're working or on leave or something. And that will help us get more return on investment for you. So sometimes, they'll just say, hey, good idea, and it's not their money, and they just, boom, there's another $1,000 for you sitting at home in your shorts. Okay, so sell follow-up teleseminars and webinars. Sell consulting. This is where the big money comes for a lot of speakers. They go in and they do a great job. People see their depth of knowledge, and they get big consulting contracts. So that can be enormous. I was just talking to a guy today. He gets $7,000 a month from some company, and sometimes they don't even talk to him. All right, so that's the way consulting contracts can go. Okay, more about paid speaking. Sell or license. Also write that term down. License complete program packages to be delivered by their trainers. All right, so in this case, you can go in and do a program. If they love it, then you suggest, listen, I can't be available, and it's going to cost you a fortune if I had to deliver this for each of your divisions. Why don't I customize it for you? You can license it, and then what you do is you'd say, well, I'll come in and do a train-the-trainer event. So you get paid for that, and then they deliver your material. And then when the license is up, it could be for a year or for so many number of people, you get paid again. See, so that's licensing your material. Every one of these folks, I've got friends that have made millions of dollars on. All right, I don't particularly do this one because I quit paid speaking a long time ago, but this definitely is a major revenue stream for a lot of speakers. Now, this is another really big one, and I have to give credit on this one. I learned this one from a guy named Jeff Slutsky back, 15, 16 years ago. And this is why you want to raise your fee. When my Wake 'em Up book came out, I was $3,500 for a speech back in the mid-'90s. And I immediately raised my fee to $4,500 and included in the deal 100 copies of my book. Now, if you don't want to use print on demand here. You got to print quantities so you can get the unit cost of your books or your CDs down low. And it only cost me $2 to print this gorgeous book. So it only cost me, to give them 100, it cost me $200, but I raised my fee $1,000, so I cleared an extra $800, and everybody in the audience got a book. Now, when I say everybody in the audience, 100 people in the audience got a book. But if there was 500 people in the audience, what this did was open the door for the meeting planner to say, well, Tom, we've got 500 people. Would you sell us 400 more books? Like, let me think about that for about a millisecond. All right, absolutely. And I'd give them a half-price discount, so it was $12 a book instead of $24.95. I still cleared $10 a book. That was an extra $4,000. See, this is how you maximize your fee, your money at each speaking engagement. It's not just speaking fee; it's all these other things put together. So that's a really, really important one. Now, here's a really cool one. You can't use this one too often, but now you'll at least know about it if it ever comes up. If you get into being booked at a luncheon or banquet speech early enough, you could suggest, after you get the booking, remember, one choice at a time, you get the booking, you say, hey, what are you going to do about centerpieces? And they say, oh, man, we got to rent them. They're like $40 a piece. And so you say, well, why don't you forget about that, and I'll put a CD together, a custom CD for you, or some that you already have. It doesn't really matter. And we'll stack them up in the middle of the table, and everybody will get one. Instead of sometimes they buy the centerpieces and one person at the table gets it. Now everybody gets something that's valuable. So that's a rare one that you can use, but it's a very cool one and can mean a lot of money to you. Okay, now some speakers charge for handout materials. Now, I don't particularly do that because my handout materials have a lot of promotional things in it, and people get mad if they're printing all your promotional stuff. But some speakers charge for handout materials, so that would be a way to increase your fee at the job. Okay, now, don't suggest on paid speaking, when you're getting a check, back of the room sales if you're speaking to corporations. Only in very, very rare circumstances would I do that. But you won't sell much anyway because a lot of corporate people always expect the company to buy them their stuff, and you probably look foolish by even asking for it. So just skip that idea. Okay. Street Smart by Slutsky. I remember him. Yeah, David remembers that. Okay. Let's see. Next. Next topic, deposit and cancellation policies. First of all, always get 50% up front on signing the agreement, and it's non-refundable. Now, I know when you're starting out, you're going to be desperate to take any paid engagement, whatever the terms are. But what I can tell you is, number one, it doesn't position you as anything special if you're desperate enough to take the job without the payment up front. Number two, the 50%, see, when you get a speaking engagement, if you're conscientious and you act like a pro, the work starts, and in fact, the bulk of the work is done before you ever set foot on stage because you customized, you researched the speech for them, their company, you might have done interviews with people, and all the work is done. So if they happen to cancel, you're just basically screwed, all right? So you make it a non-refundable upon signing the agreement. And if they question it, you explain how much work you're going to do before it. Now, the second half of it, you want to avoid this if you can, but typically people just say, okay, the other 50% after the speech. Now, why is this a bad idea? Well, first of all, I've been to places where I made in one 90-minute speech on a paid basis, so I just got a check, for probably 4 or 5 months' salary for the training director at the place I was speaking at. All right? Now, do you think they're going to be all happy about this? Do you think the training director is going to say, yo, I want to be like Tom someday? No. They're going to be against you wholeheartedly. They're going to say, I could have done this better. I know this company more than Big Shot Tom. Why is he getting $20,000 and I got to slave away, you know, blah, blah, blah. So what happens is they're supposed to give you the check afterwards. So I have been in the beginning, I was in this situation a bit until I smartened up. And, you know, they would say, oh, well, we're in a meeting, we're in a debrief meeting, I'll get you the check as soon as we're done. 2 hours later, I'm wandering the hall like a vagabond, like I'm homeless, waiting for my darn check. Well, celebrities don't wander halls waiting for checks. You know, main event speakers don't do that. So avoid this at all costs. This is the way it is now, although I don't do paid speaking anymore, but when I quit, it was 50% 2 weeks in advance of the event. The other 50%. The first 50% was non-refundable on signing. The second one's 2 weeks in advance of the event. And when you have the guts to say that in your contract, they say, wow, you know, this guy has been around. We better not mess with him, you know, and they do it. Now, the other thing about the 50% non-refundable, very, very important, very important. Let's say they're having a meeting and their budget's running thin, and they say, you know what, we need to cut a couple speakers and bring in some industry people that are begging for, you know, for slots here for free. And so they say, okay, well, let's cut Joe there. Okay, let's cut Joe. Call him up. And then they say, let's cut Tom. And then the person says, well, Tom has a non-refundable deposit we paid him. He's going to make his money whether if we cancel him. Okay, we'll keep Tom. All right, go cancel Joe, you know, Sally. So you will not get canceled, or you'll be the last possible one to get canceled if you have a non-refundable deposit. And trust me, a lot of these companies, they do things at the last minute. They just don't think, and it's no skin off of their butt if you booked airfare and hotel and everything. So make it non-refundable. Now, you can, if they cancel, you can give them, say, okay, well, we'll rebook it at a mutually agreed time as long as, you know, I don't have to pay extra for airfare and all those things. So, yeah, you got to be flexible, too. But if they keep canceling over and over, you might just want to blow them off. They're idiots. So that's how you make it good with a deposit cancellation policy. Okay, that's what I just said. Carry over the deposit. Okay, now how to sell when you aren't allowed to sell. This is a really, really important skill, and it'll make you a lot of extra money. First thing is called a magalog. This is short for magazine crossed with catalog, so magalog. And these are not a new thing. These have been around a long time, but I still don't see many people using them or many speakers using them. Mine happens to be 20-page, all glossy, really fancy, but you can basically start out with an 11 by 17 piece of paper, glossy, fold it over, Jack Prints, J-A-K Prints, or Vista Prints, those kind of places online will print them cheap, and you can have a 4-page magalog. Well, what makes it a magalog? What makes it a magalog is it has feature articles in it. So nobody ever throws it away. And if you go to a place where you aren't allowed to sell, usually they'll let you give it out as a handout because it has feature articles. If it was just your product catalog only, they probably wouldn't. So putting the feature article in makes it valuable in itself. So get yourself a magalog, and then people in the crowd can take it home with them, and very frequently they'll buy something through your website. Okay, next thing. I covered this already about using your own product in your speeches. This works where you aren't allowed to sell. I still do this today when I'm going to free speeches, so use that idea. All right, next thing is hold a drawing to give away your product. Nobody ever complains if you give stuff away. But when you're doing a drawing, then you're able to describe your product. And then when whoever wins, you hand it to the person in the front row, and they have to hand it back and back to the person that won, and they get touching it and seeing it, and they say, we wish we had one. So that's a way to sneak up on them and give away your product, but now it tells the whole world what it is and that they could get one if they just contacted you. Now, some places won't let you hold a drawing, but this is so important to me, I won't even accept an engagement if I can't hold a drawing and get the database out of it, because your database is gold for your follow-up, which is critical. So make sure they allow you to hold a drawing. Just don't pop it in on them, because some people get furious, and they might even stop you in the middle of it, which would be really bad news. Okay, follow-up for more sales. Now, I'm taking some training from a company because I'm working on a TV show, and so I'm learning how to pitch it to executives. And the guy that's teaching me was telling me about an executive that was on the shuttle bus to the airport with him, had a big box of like 75 pitch packets, which are different television shows people were trying to pitch him at this event. And the executive said, you know what? I'll be lucky if 1 or 2 of these people follow up. And in fact, I got 75 of these pitch packets last year. Not one person followed up. I was so desperate for content, if any one of them would have called, they would have got a show. But nobody called. So follow-up is the key, and any salespeople or trainers or anybody will tell you that. But you've got to do it too. So you follow up with people that just saw you and fell in love with you. If you disappear and they never hear from you again, then that's what happens. They're never going to give you any money. Okay, now, another thing when you're allowed to sell is you can give a freebie away on your website most of the time. So you have a custom, something that would be pertinent to your crowd. You put it up on your screen and say, hey, go to this page. I made it just for your company, and I've got a special freebie there for you. So you go there, and of course they have to put their email address and name in there, not phone number, and their name to get it, and now you can follow up with them more. So don't pass up freebies on websites. And put a lot of resources in your handouts, too. Okay. Now, how to make money from, remember, we don't do free speeches anymore. It's no-fee speeches. Now, see, some places will not pay speakers, no matter what. That's mandated in their bylaws. But they will buy, here's that term again, educational materials. All right? So you want to negotiate with people when they won't pay you. So I'd rather, excuse me, I shouldn't have shown that one yet. I'd rather actually they buy 500 books than I get a fee if I had to choose between one or the other, because now not only did I get the money, I got 500 advertisements out there working for me, and in my book is follow-up stuff they can buy. See, so I'm thrilled to death if they don't want to pay me, if they'll buy my stuff. That's why products are so important. Okay, next is while you're at one of these free speeches, or no-fee speeches, excuse me, have a product created. This can also be done on paid speeches, but you have to be careful not to reveal any proprietary information to the group, or you can edit that out. But this is a way that you can go to a speech and have a product created. And I have made, I don't know how many millions of dollars doing this, because the product that you're going to see later that a lot of you are going to invest in was created at a free speech. In fact, there was a fundraiser where I gave all the money that day to the group, but I got the master tapes and turned it into what you'll see as the Wake 'em Up speaking system. So let me know. I know I've been a little bit under pressure here, but I want to make sure I'm with everybody out there. So just type in your question box, or your that if this is the level that you want. If I'm going too fast, too slow, if you can hear me okay still. Okay. Okay. Good. Great. Lorene, sounds wonderful. Boy, I'm sitting here just dripping in sweat because. Oh, good. Excellent value. Oh, it says I can still hear you. That's okay. I missed the echo. I want to hear everything twice. Thumbs up. The only Pedro in America. All right, Pedro. Okay, good. All right, so let's keep rolling here. Okay, we'll get to all the specific questions when we get through the main stuff here. Okay, get them to videotape and you get to master. That's what I just talked about. And some places that won't pay some of them have complete video departments, and they say, sure, we'll do it, no problem. We're looking for projects. So you can get high quality. I did the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Air Force in Washington, D.C., me and I think it was Secretary of Defense Ken Bacon, and so I said, well, you know, would you mind videotaping this? Because they would not pay, but it was such a prestigious event. I said, I'm going to this thing. And they had like a 4-camera Betacam, which was hot stuff in those days, shoot and edit it and everything, and put an F-16 on it for in the beginning. You know, so this is all you have to do is ask. Okay, you can pull the audio off of the video for an audio product. Now, this is all from doing a speech at a free place. And the nice thing is whenever you get a chance in your videotaping, here's one of those extra tips I want to give you. Always, whenever possible, mic the audience. Even if you have to bring an extra little microphone portable and sit it out in the audience, because so many people, I see their demo materials, they tell a joke, and their lavalier mic is designed to cut out everybody else. And so you don't hear the laugh track, and then it sounds like they bombed. So always mic the audience whenever you're doing this, and then you can add real laughter sound in, or just sync it up with your recordings, and you'll have the real laughter on it. Very important. Okay, have it transcribed and edited for a transcript product, or edited further into an ebook, white paper, or special report. So these are all the ways you can make money on no-fee speeches. All right. Now, here's other ways that you can get indirect stuff that's valuable. Bargain for other stuff. You can, if they won't pay you, sometimes, like there's an airline sponsoring the event, ask for an extra airfare for your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend. Ask for extra days at the resort. They don't care. You know, if they book 500 room nights, the resort will throw in something. I was in, like, it looked like the presidential suite in Vegas the last time I spoke there. It was, I mean, so big. It was bigger than, no, it was just big. It was bigger than most people's apartments. Mailing list of the attendees so that you can what? Follow up. Other thing, broadcast, get them to broadcast about you to the group. So get something mentioned in their either online newsletters, their email blast, all those kinds of things. Get an endorsement letter from them. If you do a good job, you're going to give me an endorsement letter on your letterhead. An endorsement video is even better. I've got people right afterwards that had my flip video there and got an endorsement video. Get a trade show booth. Some of those go for $2,000 to $3,000. And it costs them nothing for another little bit of floor space. Get a trade show booth, and now you've got a booth to be exposed to all the attendees, even if you did a breakout session. Get them to write you up in their newsletter, or give them an article for their newsletter. And sometimes I do it before the event, the month of the event, and a follow-up after the event. So I get 3 exposures. See? This is all the stuff you do at no-fee speeches. But here's the key. Get it in writing. I'll tell you what, if they pay me 20,000 bucks, they treat me like gold. If I'm the same speaker and I go for free, I'm the same schmuck I was when I first started 20 years ago. They treat you like dog, dog poop. So get this stuff in writing so that, they can't, just let it slide and say, heck with you, you're just a free speaker, get lost. Get it in writing, and that formalizes it. And usually they won't back out if they've, if you've gone that far to put it in writing as an agreement, because it carries more weight that way. Okay, now, next thing, let's talk about public events. This is where you don't get paid, but people pay admission tickets. Now, if they're your own, this is the one that I avoided like the plague for 5 years. 6 years before I did one, because I don't want you to do this unless they're very small scale, you don't have much money at risk, and you absolutely know you can fill the seats. Because you're going to look like a goober if you rent a big, expensive hotel room, and catering and guarantee room nights and all this stuff can break you, all right? So I didn't do it until I had a big email list, so I had no promotional costs. So pretty much I can go anywhere in the country now and fill up a relatively small seminar because I can email with no cost. See? So avoid these until you absolutely know. Yeah, and I know there's some people that had successful ones when they first started, but that's the exception, not the rule. Okay, let's see what's next. Now, this is the one where you can really, really skyrocket your income. Other promoters, public events. Now, the one thing you can do that people don't think about is you can get an affiliate commission for putting butts in seats. I just got a check for $1,000 the other day. Hardly even thought about it. Jennifer told me because I promoted an event, and so many people went to it, and I got a commission on each ticket. See, so that's one extra way you can make money, and you can do that even if you're not speaking, right? But if you are speaking there, then it kind of behooves you, since you're, you want more people there too. The more people that are there, the better it looks for you, because you're speaking at bigger events. But there's no reason you shouldn't get paid for your efforts to get them there. So that's affiliate commissions. That's a great way to add extra money. Now, this is the biggie, selling products and services at these events. So I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do this, because, other than the rip-offs that, sell stuff and then don't deliver, I mean, for a legitimate speaker, I'm pretty much the best there is on selling at the back of the room, without being obnoxious, I might add. My method is so low-key, non-pressure, but you're going to learn a lot of the tips of that as we go through the next 30 minutes or so. Okay, so anyway, there's two types of products. You can have physical products, which are important at live events. People like to carry stuff home by the pound. So having physical products is good. Having it bright-colored and the bags to carry it in that are easy to open and close. I used to shrink wrap. This is a good point for you if you're selling at the back of the room. I used to shrink wrap this stuff. But that was no good, because nobody could open it up and show their neighbor who's sitting next to them what the stuff is, because then now it's flopped all over the place. So now I put them in clear plastic bags with handles on them, so they can show, the stuff shows through. They can open it up, other people can look at it, and they can easily carry it on the plane. But you got to have some type of physical product if you really want to sell the most. Then you want to have a really big coaching, consulting, or mentoring upsell, something that's very expensive. Now, expensive is a relative term, but I've been selling one on the street. It's $8,000. At an event, it's $5,000. And I sold 37 of them in the last month at just 2 events, very small events. And then you can go the next step, and if it's a money-making topic that you're in, I get a 25% commission on their sales, capped at $50,000. See, so anytime I'm standing in front of an audience, I'm looking at a potential $1 million day. So this is very serious, and you wonder why I do what I do. To be professional, because I want that money and I want to service people, so this is how you do it. Okay, now, how do you get booked at one of these events, first of all? Well, first of all, you got to go to the event you want to speak at. I get so many speakers that, are well known in their arena, saying, well, Tom, you should just recommend me for the events you're speaking at because I'll rock the house. So I did it once. I did it at a Mark Victor Hansen event. Another pretty good guy in the internet marketing field that's well known in our arena went there and bombed terribly. Not that he's not a good speaker, but they gave him a booth. He didn't bother setting it up because they know me. And he went up there, and he's used to people flocking to the back of the room. People just stood there. He didn't know the culture of the event, and bombed, made me look foolish for recommending him. So go to the event. See what the culture is of the event. I think I have this. Yeah, experience the culture. Observe the other speakers. See who's selling the most. You can't always tell exactly, but see what kind of packages, what price range they're in. Meet the promoter. Hardly any promoter, unless you're just a mega superstar that they know of, is going to put you on their important stage because they're going to have to hear about it if you suck. So, or if you're offensive, or if you're, if you just don't sell anything, they have to suffer the fact that that time slot didn't make them any money. See, so meet the promoter face to face. Prove your sales. Now, you can't usually jump to the events I speak at and expect them to welcome you with open arms. So do smaller events, any place you can get on the stage, and prove your system. Prove that out of so many people, you can sell so many without fail. Get your act together before you hit the big time. The same thing people teach you in publicity. Do smaller stations before you get your chance at the big one. And because the promoter's going to want to know, well, how much is your package, and how many people will you close out of the deal? And if you're like Elmer Fudd going, but I don't know, the chances of them booking you are very slim. Here's one thing you can do. In fact, the guy I know just did this recently. He offered to do a short bonus session sometime, late in the evening after the main event's over or something. And so a promoter may give you a chance to do something like that to prove yourself, where it's not in front of the main crowd and they get a chance to see what you can do. So that's a possibility. Offer a better deal. See, the standard deal at these events is 50-50 split. The promoter gets 50% of what you sell. Now, I get a better deal because, I'm a name draw. I put butts in seats. I always outsell everybody, and so I got a much better deal. But the standard deal is 50-50. But you could offer a little bit better deal, but not too good, because remember, you don't want to look desperate. But you could say, okay, we'll do a 40-60 towards the promoter, just to give me a chance. But if you get down in the 30-20 range, and only taking 20%, you're going to be suspect, just like the $500 speaker I used to be. So one way is to offer them a little bit better deal. Okay, and then here's that follow-up thing again. Follow up. If you just meet them at the event and that's the last they hear from you, they're going to forget about you because these promoters get buried with speakers hitting them up to speak. So you've got to do a good job of follow-up. So that's how you get booked at a public event. All right, when you do get booked, here's how you act. Do everything you can to assist the promoter, because if you, it says I went away again. It's like, oh, darn. So that's going to get you brownie points. I mean, like I do the teleseminars, one where I promote the teleseminar, one where they promote the teleseminar. So I do 2 teleseminars. I do the video for them. A lot of times I'll proofread their sales letter and find mistakes on it and tell them to fix it. I'll do everything I possibly can. I'll put it on Facebook, Twitter, all of that stuff to promote their event so that I'm a real asset to their event. So here's some examples. I told you about the recording the promotional video. I already told you about that. And there's the teleclasses and webinars I do. So those are exact examples of what you do to make yourself look good at the event. And that's all the Facebook, Twitter, Google, email blasts, whatever you can do to help promote the event is feather in your cap. Okay, once you get to the event, here's my thing. Go early and stay late. I'm the first one there. I'm helping them set up. I'm checking out all the stuff I should check out, the sound system. I'm checking my laptop with their projectors. I'm looking at the layout of the room. I'm thinking about, okay, where can I station my helpers for the drawing? And then I'm the first one there to greet people who have been waiting to meet me because they've heard of me already. you know, it cracks me up because all these divas that are out there, I mean, I take their money because they roll in like they're big shots and roll out, don't create any rapport with people, and I take all their money. It just cracks me up. All right, now the early bird session. On an early bird session, this is where, like if the event starts on Friday, Thursday night, I mean, if it's an event where people are flying in, I offer to do an early bird session where there's no selling at all. It's just content. However, if you are carefully use your content, it can really promote you. For instance, when I do an early bird session, I do this thing where I teach people how to make a $50,000 video about themselves or their business for about $3,000. So everybody wants to see this. But guess who the video is about? Me and my retreat center. So I'm promoting the hell out of myself, but nobody gets upset because they're learning the techniques. See? So you've got to think, how can I do something that's self-serving but doesn't appear self-serving? So everybody wins in that case. It's value everywhere. So early bird session, no selling though. Now what happens is, if I'm there Thursday night, and let's say I get 100 people out of 300, they flew in early, they had dinner and then came to my early bird session. Well, the next day, let's say I don't speak my main session until Sunday. The next day, those 100 people were mixed in with the other 200 to make 300 people, and they're all telling them, hey, we saw this guy last night, and boy, was he great. He's going to be on again Sunday, blah, blah, blah. And then my session is always packed on Sunday. People change their planes. They do whatever they can to be there because I did this thing ahead of time. Okay, so that's early bird sessions. Offer sign-up premiums. This is one of the I just cracks me up because I went to West by God Virginia University, Hicksville, USA, and I was asked to speak at the first Wharton Business School. Wharton is big hoity-toity business school, Ivy League kind of stuff, in Washington, D.C. I was one of the featured speakers. So I said, you know what? I've got this CD-ROM that sells for $199. Of course, it only cost me $1 to duplicate it, right? And I'll give you 100 of them as sign-up premiums. Write that down, sign-up premiums. Sign-up premium is something that the promoter of the event says, hey, the first 100 people sign up get a $200 CD-ROM from one of the featured speakers. So at $200 retail value, giving them 100, it made me a $20,000 sponsor of the event, right up there with Georgetown University, no, not Georgetown, GE and Alcoa and all these other big companies. I'm being promoted around the world to Wharton grads, and I'm the dumb hick from West Virginia. Right? So sign-up premiums can get you enormous publicity, and they're promoting the event anyway, and so this is just another incentive for people to get signed up. So, and your name's on it. So that's sign-up premiums. Okay, and of course, when they get there, they see you're a big shot again, so they buy your stuff easier. So remember, this whole webinar is about how to maximize each engagement. So sign-up premiums. Okay, put out your promo materials at registration. This is in my contract that my Magalog, my DVD that has 2 half-hour shows about me, and a promotional thing for my shopping cart system in my contract must be handed out at registration. Again, this is people getting to know me going the extra mile so that, and I had a lady tell me that was here at the retreat center. She said, I decided to go with you before you even spoke as soon as I saw that Magalog. It's 20 pages. She took it up to her room. She watched the DVD on her laptop. I'm done. This is the guy. I don't need to hear anybody else. This is the guy that's perfect for me. See? So she'd have never, if she would have not gotten those things, it would have been all the way to Sunday, and then I would have been fighting it out with all the other speakers where I jumped the gun and got the sale from her beforehand because the promo materials at registration. You can't always get this, but it's one of my requirements to speak now. I've gotten myself to that position where you must do these things or I'm not going to agree to appear. By the way, I just said the word appear. You never speak anymore. You're making an appearance. And if you think that sounds hokey and you're going to choke when you say it, you'll get over it. Trust me. I remember the first time somebody asked me to sign a book. It was very uncomfortable for a kid from a two-horse town in western Pennsylvania. But you will get over it. But celebrities make appearances. They just don't speak. And it does sound hokey, me telling you this and pulling it out and spotlighting it. But when it's just a normal conversation, yeah, I can make an appearance at your event. You know, here's my details, and you must agree to these before I do. You know, people like, you know, you made it. When I just had this happen again 2 weeks ago, this event in Florida I'm speaking at, they said, we want to see if you can appear before we book the date. That's serious, you know, positioning. So that's what I want for you, and all this stuff we've been talking about does that for you. Okay, do a drawing. I told you about that. Okay, I used a three-part NCR, maybe isn't the proper term. That's a copyrighted term, but it's a three-part carbonless form, one for the promoter, one as a receipt for the person buying stuff, and one master for me. And I run the credit cards later. I don't carry any kind of card machines or anything. I want speed so that people don't go to the next session and say, I'll come back and sign up for your thing, but I don't have time, I got to go. No, I want to get them through fast, so I use a three-part NCR form. This is all part of my back-of-the-room sales stuff. Now, scare tactics. This sounds kind of ominous. I admit that. But NCR, Lorraine, is like a carbonless form, and we just call it NCR, which is probably violating somebody's trademark, but NCR is probably. Okay, so scare tactics. Now, a lot of you have seen me speak that are on this call, and you would probably say, wow, he's a lot of fun, he's funny, he's down to earth, and all of that thing, all of those, I appreciate those comments, and you know, I try to make them true. I try not to be a diva. But my job when I'm up on stage, it sounds bad, is to scare the hell out of you. Scare the hell out of you. But scare tactic to me, write this down, this definition. Oh, NCR, no carbon required. Thank you. My definition of scare tactic is I want the audience to know, in no uncertain terms, there are consequences of not knowing what I know. If you go to web designer, you're probably going to get screwed. You're probably going to spend a fortune for something that should be cheap. Now, if you knew what I knew, it wouldn't happen to you. You know, so those are spread out throughout. So I want you to think when you speak, how many times can I let the audience know that there's consequences of not knowing the material? And there's an interesting thing. I've been saying this for years, and it just came to light in a lot of these webinars. You'll hear me say it later, is it doesn't matter where you learn this, but you have to learn it. It's so important. That's what we say a lot of times. And I'll say, you know, doesn't matter to me if you sign up. I'm going to sleep tonight, but, you know, are you? Are you going to be worrying about bills when I could be teaching you how to get out of it? So think about what are the consequences of not knowing what you know, and bring them out in your speech. You'll sell a lot more that way. And without pushing yourself on people. I never push myself on people, but after doing all these things, I'm the logical choice for them to invest with because I've treated them right and done all of these things, and I'm well known. Okay, now, afterwards I take them to a room. I spend the entire time, every minute I have on stage, teaching them. No selling. And then if anybody's interested, I give them a couple minutes of what my program is about, and if you'd like to hear about it, let's go over to this other room. And then I usually throw a pizza party for them or have some refreshments in case that, so they don't run off to lunch, and spend a half hour just telling them about the program, and boom, I come home with more money than anybody most of the time. So that's an isolation room. So that's what I do at the event. All right, let's have another poll. Hey, let's see how we're thinking about now. So let's find the poll thing here. Poll. Here we go, polls. All right. Now remember, it depends on how you're seeing this. Some of you will be able to click right on the screen. Some of you will just put it in a question box underneath. And if you're using the question box underneath the video, just keep your email open. But now do you know a ton of different ways to increase your income at any speaking engagement? Answer is yes, no, or the speaking fairy can't even lift all the ways I know now. Click on whatever is appropriate for you. Yes, no, or the speaking fairy can't even lift them. And we'll leave the thing open for, let's see, another, let's say 15 seconds or so. And by the way, I appreciate everybody hanging in here. Don't forget, I'm going to have 3 super duper tricks for you, for those that hang into the end. I know we got delayed a little bit, so I'm trying to go a little faster for you. So let's count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll close the polls, and we will share the results. Yeehaw! Look at that. 79, 89, 96% yes and 4% no, and I think that proves that I did my promise for you. And I got to tell you, folks, if you just did even a fraction of the stuff I told you tonight, you know, you'll immediately see results in what you're doing. So that's awesome. Only 4% no. That was a complete switch around, wasn't it? Great. Okay, so let's hide that. And let me ask you, have I delivered on my promise of teaching you how to increase the amount of money you make on any speaking engagement? If you think I have, type "you better believe it" or whatever you want to type into the question box. Let's see. Yes, yes. Many techniques require, I can't, it's going by too fast. You betcha, absolutely. You better believe it. Yeah, I'm on. Yeehaw. Excellent. Thanks. Wow. Woohoo. Way to go, Thomas. Thank you, Frank. Glad I typed fast. You bet. Still eating $5,000 pizza? I don't know what that means. You better believe it. Wow, for sure. 10-4. Oh, great. So awesome. I am thrilled that I was able to do a good job for you. So we had a deal. I promised to deliver great material, which I did, and you promised it was okay for me to give you an offer. But I want you to keep in mind, remember, I'm a born teacher. I'm going to keep teaching throughout the offer. In fact, I'm going to be doing more teaching than offering. You know, I want to give you maximum value, and then I'm going to have those 3 bonus super tips, and then I'm going to stay on for question and answer. Okay. This is going to be your offer. This is the Wake 'em Up Video Professional Speaking System. This is the best-selling speaking system on the internet ever. It came out of a school of hard knocks and an enormous amount of study of the craft and business of speaking, because you have to have both. You can't just know a little bit about selling and expect to have these kind of results, because you know, if you suck on stage, that word spreads pretty fast too. So why is it tough to make it in a down economy in the speaking business? Well, not enough speaking engagements. Well, you've probably never been taught how to get them, or how to get more of them, or how to maximize them, like I'm trying to teach you tonight. Now, this might seem odd to you, but too many speaking engagements. I was just talking to a lady who works for one of the big seminar companies. She said for her to earn $4,000 a month, which to me is one crappy teleseminar, she had to do 16 dates, and those are all day, I might add, plus the travel days in between. You're totally exhausted to earn $4,000 a month. Took the whole month of travel and full day speaking, which my voice actually wouldn't even hold up. So you got to get out of that. In fact, I was counseling somebody this week to never call yourself a trainer. And I don't want to step on any people out there toes that are trainers, but you're not positioning yourself. I had a speakers bureau tell me that they can get a trainer on any subject on earth for $250 a day. You don't want to be lumped in that group. So if you have to do this to keep the bills paid, great, but you're going to have to learn these other skills to position yourself better. Now, why is it tough to make money without help in this business? Like I had to come up, and even I didn't make a lot of money until I got help. Well, the lack of knowledge that you got to have no matter where you get it. Just like I told you earlier, whoever you get it from that's credible is okay with me. All right, but that's the hard part, is finding somebody that actually has done this, actually is doing it, and actually is not going to cheat you. All right, so another reason it's tough is because you don't have a product line. This is what Dottie Walters told me in 1991. Tom, you must become a product machine. And I took it to heart, and I think in my card is listed over 400 products right now over the years. Now, you don't have to start with that many, but it's so easy to create products, and this is part of what we teach you in the Wake 'em Up speaking system. So what's it costing you not having this knowledge? Well, costing you no new cars, no nicer homes, no college education fund, no time for hobbies, no spendable income, all kinds of things no great vacations, no time with family. So what I want to know is what's holding you back. Well, a lot of people believe it's too expensive to get educated about the business and too risky, and that's somewhat true if you get hoodwinked by some of these bad people. Well, I'm going to put a big red circle through that right now, because you're going to be able to get started tonight for only 99 bucks. All right, now this is a product that's sold for well over $1,200, $1,300 for years, but my mission is to help people get going with this. So if you want, you can get started for only 99 bucks. Plus, there's a ton of bonuses that go with it. Now, these next two go together. How to juggle, why you're having a tough time. Having to juggle several jobs to make ends meet and lack of time. I'll cycle back between those. I hear these all the time. Folks, you're not kidding me. There's nobody busier than me. You will make time for what's important to you. I heard recently that people are watching 5 hours of TV a day. If you would cut out one show and put 7 hours a week into your speaking business, you literally could be a superstar if you took the time to do that. But don't tell me there's no time. I'm the busiest guy on the earth with a new school, with a mentor program, with my own research so I can keep current, with my speaking engagements and my television show and 2 documentaries. There's nobody busier than me. So you have the time to do this. Some people think that they're not technical enough. Well, none of this is that tough. It's not rocket science. It's just that no credible person ever taught you what to do. That's what I'm here for tonight. Now, this guy was on the line with us tonight. This beginner turned into a pro. And he said, this is Manny Nowak. Manny, thank you so much, and I'm thrilled about your success. No one ever showed me the things in Tom's course. Tom has taken someone who has always wanted to speak and made me into a professional. I would be nowhere near as good as I am without Tom. I started out free, and now I'm at $2,500. Manny, I'm so thrilled about your successes. Now, another thing that stops people is their ego, especially some of you seasoned speakers. I took a guy, he's not with us anymore, but Bill Brooks and I, Bill had been a speaker for 20 years, and he was interviewing me on how to do introductions for your speeches. And I taught him, or I was talking about how you use test humor in your introduction. So here's a tip for you, folks. You use test humor in your introductions. And when we got off the interview, he was red-faced, and he said, I cannot believe this. I have been in this business 20 years, and I have been doing this wrong every single time. What he did was he would start the speech and try some humor out and try to feel the audience out, and then if, maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I said, Bill, you're crazy. That is too risky. If they're not ready, you look like you're bombing. So what I do is I put a piece of test humor in my introduction, and I'm standing there watching the audience as my introduction is being delivered. If I see them laugh at the test humor, I know they're warmed up, and I can just go and do whatever I want as my opening. If I see that they don't even react, I get right on stage and I say, look, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get right into it, and I start giving content. And then sometimes, if it's early morning, by 10:15, they're all happy and awake. But these are the things, there's like hundreds of these little tips that you learn in the speaker system. So just because you've been on stage 20 years doesn't mean you know it all. And I feel the same way. I say that the schoolhouse door is always open. And an old coal miner told me that, and that's the way I live my life, and I believe that's why I'm at the top of the game, because I'm always learning and always improving. Now, what do you need to understand about the business of speaking? Online and offline publicity, websites and press rooms, attacking industries and niches. This is one of my favorite things to teach, is how to attack an industry. Get your name around there really quick. You need social networking training. You need to learn about video. There's like 100 different things, shots you need to have in your demo videos. You need to learn about blogging, contracts, plus everything we talked about today. So tons of stuff you need to know in the speaking business to have the kind of success that I've realized. Now, what do you need to know about on-stage performance? Well, you need to know how to consistently include appropriate humor. You need to know what to do if your time is cut. That happens all the time, but I don't sweat it. I know exactly what to do, and that's what we teach in the system. You need to know how to vary your openings depending on the situation. The same thing with your closing. Depending on who's before you, who's after you, there's a lot of little variables that affect what you do on stage. And there's simple techniques. There's things that I could teach you in 3 minutes that would just instantly make you more interesting, little verbal cues. So we teach you all that stuff. Now, how does the time of day change your presentation? Male-female ratio. We teach you 31 ways to add humor without telling jokes. Like I said, I don't care how seasoned you are. There's plenty to learn in this. How to use emotional language to move people to action. Your word choice is critical. How to add, I told you, test humored introductions. Where to find industry-specific humor. That's an important thing. Repeatable formulas for making your points. Sometimes I use the same formula 40 times in a speech, and nobody knows. We teach you how to do that. Who to look at in the audience and who not to look at in the audience. These are important things. How to seek people for maximum interaction. What to wear and what not to wear. When you should use 2 major closes. I'll bet you hardly anybody knows the answer to that one. How to deliver without using notes. That's a really important section, because when you can deliver without using notes, people think you know what you're talking about. And I could really go on for 30 more slides on the things that you need to know in this. In fact, you only need to know about 100 times what I covered tonight. All right? So, you can certainly get small successes right now. You could just go out and speak, and you're going to have some up and down performances, but if you get the knowledge, the big money is really out there. But it all depends on you getting the knowledge of what you need to know, so you don't have to go through years of bombing and stuff. So, Tom, get to the darn deal. I'm missing my favorite Seinfeld rerun. All right. Well, I've been selling this on my website for years. Like I said, it's at least 10 years. With updates with the internet stuff, and it's all updated. A lot of the speaking stuff is evergreen. For $12.97, it's got a cash discount to $9.97. You're going to get a big discount and a whole load of bonuses off of that price. It's a webinar-only special. Now, if you know you want this, you can go right now to Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. There's 2 deals there. One is for $6.97, which is $300 off of the cash discount and $600 off of the finance thing. And the first 10, and there's another deal for $99 to let you get started and payments. The first 10 of each deal get some really killer bonuses, and if you know me and trust me, go ahead over there right now and get your order in. And I'll be explaining the bonuses while I'm giving more tips here. And if you're afraid of missing any tips, don't forget I'll have a replay for you. And then don't forget I've got 3 super-duper bonus techniques at the end. So go ahead over to Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Okay. Next thing I want to tell you about is common mistakes, cold calling. Celebrities don't cold call. I know a lot of people teach this thing about cold calling. Celebrities do not cold call. Celebrities are called by people. So I want you to set up, and I teach you how to make it so they call you. The whole power struggle of the call changes when people call you. Another mistake people make is listening to the wrong people. There's people out there that never made probably more than $3,000 in a speech, and they haven't actively been speaking since the pyramids were built, all right, and they're trying to teach this modern stuff. Very risky for you to learn from somebody like that. The other side of the coin is the young whippersnapper who had some big successes early accidentally, and now just decides they're the big pro speaker and going to teach you everything. Again, very risky for you. There's no depth of experience there. Another mistake is waiting to take action until it's too late, and this is one of my favorite sayings of all time, and I live by this. I will prepare myself and my time will come. I'll prepare myself and my time will come. That's the way I'm doing with this TV show. I'm taking the $2,000 training to learn when I get in front of that executive so I know what to say to get my show. See, so you got to prepare ahead of time. You can't wait to the last minute. Another mistake is thinking all I need to do is speak to earn big bucks. You must put a product mix in. You know, it's too risky. I had friends go bankrupt when 9/11 hit because everything dried up. Travel dried up. All the meetings got canceled. They went bankrupt. Very established, well-known speakers because they were living high on the hog only on speaking. You must have a product mix, internet sales, and all that, and we teach you every single bit of that. You got to have video demo materials, and you must get here's a tip for you. You must get video demo materials on each topic. If you are a great customer service speaker and sales speaker, if you show them this great tape of you doing customer service and you just wow them, the meeting planner is saying, oh, well, you know, he was great on customer service, but, you know, we better not hire him because our speech is on sales. You know, so if you have to separate because they can't do it in their mind. They want somebody perceived as the -- expert on that topic. So don't lump a bunch of different topics on your same demo tape. Okay. Okay. Now, don't forget about entertainment value. A part of the reason that I'm pretty popular is it's a lot of fun to watch me speak. I mean, I get the longest time slots, usually 90 minutes and a lot of times 2 hours, because I can hold the audience that long because of partial entertainment value. And this is critical for you to get the highest fees, highest evaluations to make it fun and interesting for the people. I'm not saying you have to be a clown, but I'll tell you what, on that one picture you see there with that lady sitting down, the people in that crowd begged me not to quit. There was a 2 to 3 minute standing ovation, which is unheard of, and the people were lined up clear from the front where we were standing right there out into the parking lot to get their book signed because I was entertaining, okay? I gave them good value, but the thing is they were just thrilled with the whole overall thing because of the entertainment value. Okay, here's another big mistake. Falling in love with lousy topics. You might love your topic, but if it's not saleable in the marketplace, you are in deep trouble. Nobody's going to give you money for it. So I want to give you a quick lesson here on what we call hard and soft topics. This is critical for every single person on this line. A hard topic is any topic that has what we call a perceived, direct, bottom line financial benefit to the people hiring you. Sales training, customer service, productivity, anything that they're going to make more money because of it or save money. A soft topic is anything else like diversity or humor in the workplace, those kinds of things. Now, I know I used to do humor in the workplace, and I know diversity speakers, and all of us can make arguments that the company will make more money or save money from lawsuits or less health care costs, all the arguments that we give. But they don't see it that way when they're wondering how they're going to make payroll next week. They need hard topics. Now, here's the difference between, and I'm not saying your topics are bad because they're soft. I'm going to tell you what to do about this. See, hard topics sell whether the economy is good or bad. Soft topics only sell when the economy is booming. So your job is to convert your soft topic into a hard topic. Now, how do you do that? Well, that would take me a half hour to teach you. However, it's critical for you to learn that so that you can have business coming in year-round. without pretending to be something you're not. It's just the way you switch the soft topic to a hard topic. So you must learn this, and again, I'll say, wherever you learn it, it's okay with me, but you'd better darn well learn it if you don't want to be sitting home with your soft topic. Okay, so again, if you know you want this deal, and I'm going to be still going through bonuses that you're going to get, but if you know you want it now, just go head over to Antion.com/speaker webinar deal, and part of the deal is explained there, but $697 with free shipping and a total cash discount to save me all the hassle of doing the billing. And if you're really strapped, $99 down, and I think there's 9 payments of $99. And if you can't afford $99, you shouldn't be even thinking about getting into this business yet, because you know, this is an investment. It's kind of naive to think, oh, well, I can just go make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a speech and not know what the hell I'm doing. Right? So it doesn't work that way. In fact, it hurts our whole industry. And the first 10 of you for each one of those deals are going to get massive bonuses. And don't forget, I got 3 super bonuses coming for you. All right. Now, why should you bother learning all this stuff? Well, you'll get more speaking engagements. You'll get higher fees. When I quit corporate speaking, I was $20,000, and that would be a really bad day. I mean, I would really be hurting if that's all I made at the places I speak now. But that's pretty darn good for paid speaking. Now, these are 2 videos I can't really show you right here, but these are just back-of-the-room sales. Now, the last speech I did last month was $125,000 at the back of the room, and the one right before that, a week before that, was $70,000. And the only reason it was $70,000 is because of the very small crowd. So there's $195,000 plus 37 new people to put that are, you know, not all of them will pay, but many of them will pay me $50,000 on the back end for ongoing coaching and consulting. So this is serious, serious big money, and that's why you should learn this. All right. Why else? Well, exotic travel. There's me on the left in Monterrey, Mexico. There's me in Thailand. This is my favorite. John Canning, I think, is on the tonight. We were in Morocco together, and we took a camel tour, and I put my laptop and I had a cell phone and got all these promo pictures on there. This is in Singapore, where water means wealth in Singapore. So this is the largest fountain in the world. So I got my picture taken there. I'm trying to become a little bit of an amateur photographer. This is in the Twin Towers in Malaysia from my hotel room, kind of like a picture postcard. But you know, you get to go all over the place. There's Paris, and you get to do fun stuff. That was a duck. That's things called a duck from the World War II. It's a boat, amphibious boat. We drive right into the water, and then you hang out with celebrities. This is one of my favorite pictures of all time. This is Art Linkletter, who I watched when I was a kid. Many of us did. The kids say the darndest things, and we shared the stage. That was so much fun. You know, Brian Tracy, Bonnie Blair was Olympic champion, and this is also a favorite picture because this is Michelle Soros. She was on The Apprentice, but this was prior to her being on The Apprentice, and she was asking me for a photo. It wasn't the other way around. So I really like that. She actually was saying, "Hey, when are we going to get our photo?" So there it was. This is Patch Adams. He is a crazy dude. I'll tell you that. They made a movie about him. Now, why else should you do it? Well, it leads to lucrative coaching and consulting contracts. Very important for your financial security. You have more spendable income. Hey, in Virginia, we have actually a .com license plate. You see it there. So it worked out pretty good for me until the first time I cut somebody off in traffic. It wasn't so good. This is, you know, I have my own TV studio here at this. We have an estate home here that, you know, we've used for years as the retreat center. But I got the solution to help you all of this, and this is, again, the Wake 'em Up speaking system. Now, there's the deal again, Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. You got a $697 cash price or start as little as $99. So Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. All right, now, it's going to help you get more of some things: paid speaking engagements, more money per engagement, more product sales, more time at home, more travel only if you want it. So you can stay in your own local region if you don't want to travel. I don't really get crazy and want to travel that much anymore, but you don't have to. You can if you want to. More spendable income, financial security. You'll learn more entertainment value if you had this training, and you'll get more celebrity status and prestige. Now, what do some people have to say about this, luminaries? Well, this is Mark Victor Hansen. The reason he is so happy, the day that picture was taken, I sold $250,000 at the back of the room. I beat everybody by, I don't know, $150,000. And so he was a happy camper at that event. Dottie Walters said, mastering the skills in Tom's program will virtually guarantee you will always be in demand as a speaker. Now, this system will also cut your learning curve. It'll cut your frustration of bombing and up and down performances, rejections. You won't get rejected because I'm going to teach you how to make them call you. Less stress, less worry about money, and this is my favorite. I do not deal with people I don't like. I know some of you still going to work are suffering through that, but not me. All right, this is a guy that started the National Speakers Association. He was in the front row and watched my program. He said, Tom's program and materials will cut 5 years off a speaker's learning curve. In other words, floundering around for the next 5 years or learning how to do it right, it's up to you. This is Patricia Fripp, the first woman president of the National Speakers Association, said this program gives you advanced presentation skills and humor training that would otherwise take you years to learn. Absolute must for anyone who wants to be a fantastic presenter. So who's this for? Well, it's for a system if you want to dramatically and immediately increase your income from speaking, training, and product sales. And it doesn't matter what your topic is as long as it's saleable. If you have a topic nobody wants to hear, nothing's going to work for you. All right, so those were big shots. All right, how about these people, regular people? I popped the first DVD in, and the first tip was worth more than the cost of the system, Patrick Wall. This is Steve Gray from Australia. The dueling flip charts idea was fantastic. I had a presentation to some aspiring managers, so I organized an extra flip chart and had some great fun and the learning opportunities all around. This is another, I think Joanne was on tonight. I got my first $15,000 speaking engagement after following Tom's principles. Now, before I tell you the rest of her thing, I got to say, Federal Trade Commission says, okay, I got to tell you what the average person does with my stuff. Well, I don't really know. Let's just say it this way. The average person doesn't do crap, and it gains a bunch of dust and there's a doorstop in their house. Okay, that's the average person. They're not on this call tonight, but neither was Joanne. Joanne is not average. She is somebody that is great and took what I taught her and used it, so she made $15,000 the first time because of what she learned in here. I utilized Tom's program, and it absolutely works. It's totally changed the way I think about my business. Now, you new speakers, you need this course to save yourself years of learning curve, numerous bombs, up and down performance, and lots of frustration of not knowing what to do or who to turn to for help. If you're new, you're going to suffer through that one way or the other unless you get some good training. Here's the guy that took action. I implemented your methods. This is John the plumber, John Clasaris. Within 1 month of receiving the course, I was free to a $200 speaker. Now I get $2,500 to $5,000 for a workshop, and I just looked him up in a speakers bureau, and that's the fee range he's in. Now, established speakers, these are the ones that are egomaniacs like me, and I still, if I'm an egomaniac, I still learn stuff, and I really encourage you folks that can afford this easily to get it, because you can really raise your game. You realize that just one tip you learn, and I identified over 1,000 usable tips out of this course, could raise your money by about $1 million over the course of your career, and in some cases, for some of you, it could be inside 1 year. So this is very serious stuff. You've also probably wasted 10 times more money than this program costs on worthless websites and promo materials that were ineffective. Now, I got some really big shots that like my stuff. Tom's Wake 'em Up system will teach you how to create excitement when you speak to any size group. I use his tips in my own speaking engagement. This is the world-renowned Bobby Bowden, head football coach at Florida State. This is Ron Rice. He founded Hawaiian Tropic out of his bathtub, and now it's $50 million a year in just the United States alone. At Hawaiian Tropic, we believe that fun and excitement keep our corporate staff and distributors productive. Tom can teach you how to create this excitement every time you address a group. Ron Rice, Hawaiian Tropic. So here's the system. Let's tell you what you get. Well, there's the deal again, Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Don't forget I got 3 super bonuses coming up for you. And you're going to get the Wake 'em Up How to Use Humor in Business Presentations softcover book. And as soon as you purchase, you're going to download the ebook version right away, so you'll have something to wait on while you're getting this big box in the mail. So you'll get that right away. And this book is used by universities, and it's been a classic for many years, and the stuff in it is all current, all the techniques. And this is basically how to really be great on stage. Now, you also get a 6 CD set called Make 'em Laugh. Now, when you learn humor, folks, guess what? Learning humor is not funny. All right, it is a pain in the neck to learn how to do this. So most of this CD album is not funny. There's some live stuff that's funny, but most of it is teaching you how to make the audience laugh, and that isn't funny. The payoff is when they're rolling in the aisles because of what you learned on this thing. So that's a 6 CD set, about 6 hours of training on how to make people laugh. All right, now you also get, I'm probably the biggest purchaser of this book in the country, Speak and Grow Rich by the late Dottie Walters, who got me started in professional speaking, and it was for years the #1 source for how to be a pro speaker on the business side of it. You also get Click, the ultimate guide to electronic marketing for speakers. This currently sells for $97 by itself, but this covers all the things you need to know about speaker websites, collecting money, product production, search engine optimization, email marketing, blogging. I mean, it just goes on and on. Video marketing. This is 1,042 pages here, so this is serious. Then this alone, this CD set, How to Sell a Ton at the Back of the Room, pretty much lays out the complete method that I use to sell this at the back of the room. Now, I am going to be throwing, for a maximum of 12 people, after the first of the year, a session that's going to be $5,000 a person, maximum of 12 people, to teach them this in person. But you're going to get the gist of it on these CDs right here, on all the little things that I do so that I beat everybody at the back of the room. That is worth millions to you if you play your cards right. Now, this lady did what I told her. Tom, at my first free speaking engagement, I netted over $1,000. I just copied everything you told me to do via your back-of-the-room system, and I'm already making money just like seasoned speakers. She was a new speaker, $1,000 her first time after using this, Elon Bomani. Now, I know all this can feel overwhelming, all these 1,000 things I got to learn. Oh, my God. But don't worry, because as every one of my webinars, you are not alone. And here's why. You're going to get a bonus 5, 3 one-on-one phone calls with me to totally personalize the system to you. See, everybody has different goals, aspirations, skills, and I help you lay out an exact plan to reach your speaking goals. And I don't care if you're a total beginner or someone with 1,500 presentations, I guarantee I can help you move forward in the speaking world. Now, I put a note to myself here. It says, Tom, don't forget to tell them about 6 and 4. Well, for the first 10 people that buy the cash deal, you're going to double that and get 6 consultations with me. This should carry you for months, answer all of your questions about speaking. Any of you that take advantage of the payment deal, $99 down, you will get an extra consultation, so 4 instead of 3. So, you know, I'm really going to lay it on you, folks. Now, what can we talk about in the consultations? Topics for you that are best for you. I teach a method on how to pick the best topic. All your humor questions will get answered. Speech construction, product creation, anything internet related, because that's my main expertise besides speaking. Getting speaking engagements, and anything business related that I'm qualified to talk about. I mean, I'm not an attorney or an accountant, but I'll have a lot of opinions for you of how this works in the real world from somebody that's been in business for 33 years. All right. This is Michael Gonzalez said, Tom, I got more and better ideas on our call than I got from my master's degree in business, and at a much less expensive price. And thank you. God bless you too, Michael. Thank you so much for those kind words. So to recap, what you get, 6 DVDs. It shows you everything in action in front of live audiences. So the whole live section of DVDs is teaching you in front of a live audience, and I'm breaking it down to show you the techniques. Now the next bullet there, it says unique freeze frame humor video. This is the only place in the world you can get this, where I did a really funny 10-minute speech. Then I went back and did freeze frame and narrated over top of it so that you could see where I was looking, why I delivered a line to a certain person, how I moved on the stage. Everything that made that thing funny is broken down for you. You can't get this anywhere else. It's the only one that exists. So that's a really unique thing you want to get. You get the 6 Make 'em Laugh CDs. You get a back-of-the-room sales training that could mean millions to you, the Wake 'em Up softcover book, and you'll get the ebook immediately when you order. You'll get the Speak and Grow Rich book. You get the Click book, The Ultimate Guide to Electronic Marketing for Speakers, and you get a question and answer workbook. And the reason I do this is because I do not want you to be on stage and wondering, what did Tom say to do now? So I hit you with it in a lot of different, I put pressure on you during the course so that you aren't wondering when the chips are down. So that's what the workbook is for, is to really force you to dig into the information. And you get, of course, the consultations. Now, here's the whole deal here. If you get the cash discount deal, it's $6.97 and free shipping. That saves you about 17 bucks. The regular cash discount price is $9.97, so you save $300 and the $17 shipping, and you save $600 off of the full finance price of $12.97. So anybody that wants that deal, you'll also get those 6 consultations instead of 3. And the first 10 on either one of them are going to get extra consultations. Now, don't worry if you're strapped for cash, because this is the deal of your career. See, if you want to get started and pay as you go, $99 down plus shipping, and only 9 no interest payments of 99 bucks. So you're going to still save 300 bucks off of the finance price, and you're going to be able to finance this over a whole thing. I mean, I can't do any more favors for you than that, folks. And the first 10 who go for that deal will get 4 consultations instead of 3. So this is our webinar deal, good for this webinar only, Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. And yes, we will get to your questions, and also I've got 3 super duper bonuses for you. Okay, now my personal guarantee. You're going to get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Now, those of you that heard me speak a lot of times, this product has no guarantee. This is non-refundable outside of this webinar. I took years ago because I was tired of helping tire kickers that never did anything. So I'm going to give you a 60-day money-back guarantee. And when a guarantee for me is a guarantee, you don't have hassles with me. There's our office number right there on the screen. It's answered live by my staff 9 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday. In fact, they get in trouble if it goes to voicemail. So we are accessible. You're not going to get in voicemail hell with us if you have questions or anything. And just to let you know, I mean, a lot of people have known me for a long time. Just type in there how long you've known me, or if you've bought products, how long ago you've been doing business with me. Type it in your question box there, and let's see what we see here, because I want you to know I'm not going anywhere. Probably about 8 years from Shell, 20-ish years from Dean, 1 year from Carroll, 5 years from EM, about 9 years from Ruth, 10 years from Ed, 13 months, Rain, 3 years since 2008. Known you longer than I want to admit, Karen, 20 plus years, 8 years, 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, Xander, 9 years, Big Dog PhD, 1 month, but might as well be a lifetime. I hope Patrick out. Jim, 2002. Oh, I mean, look at this. I mean, I want you all to know personally, no matter what happens on this call, how much I appreciate you always sticking with me all these years. Andy, 2 years. So this one person wants to know, is there anything I haven't purchased yet? Let me know. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm a person that's going to stand behind, and I'm the most accessible person at my level anywhere on earth. And if you don't believe me, ask all my mentees, and I answer the phone myself sometimes, and I just love talking to people. That's why it's so easy for me to give out consultations as bonuses, because I'm happy to sit here on my big fat butt and help people because I'm a born teacher. So that's my personal guarantee. Now, is there a catch? Yes, there is a catch. Here, yes, it is. See that big yes? Yes, there is. Now, this whole deal was based on one condition. Now, let's go through this. You get 60 days to work with the course, check out all my claims, try things out, and if it doesn't live up to your expectations, you can get a full refund. Now, that's pretty fair, wouldn't you say? That's fair. Now, here's the condition. As soon as you start taking advantage of my consultations, you agree that the course is no longer refundable. And if you finance it with me, you're going to make all your payments. So I think that's fair, too, because I'm a legitimate $1,000 an hour consultant, and I'm basically just giving you free time almost if you go with this deal because I want your success. So if you think that's a fair deal, just type in, hey, that's fair, all right? You know, you get 60 days to check it out, and if you don't want it, you send it back. But as soon as you start taking my time, I just can't stand tire kickers that aren't going to do anything, and they get short for cash, and they say, oh, let's hit the rich guy up and waste his time and effort. So everybody's saying that's fair, more than fair, unfair success advantage. So that's the deal on that. Okay. You ready for the bonus super techniques? If you are, say, heck yes, I'm ready for the bonus super techniques. I made it all the way to the end. And don't forget, I'm going to stay on and answer questions as long as people have them. I'm sure Colin's been helping out over there. Heck yeah, bring it on. Adrian says Lee, says listo. I don't know what that means, but I guess that's yes. The link is Antion.com/speaker webinar deal, Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Listo is Spanish for ready. All right, thank you. In Espanol. Oh, good, I'm getting a Spanish license. See, the schoolhouse door is always open. How about calling myself a stupido gringo? Is that, is that right? Is that correct Spanish? Okay, so let's get to some super bonus techniques for you. All right, let me click back over here. Did you were you able to send that to them? Okay, good. Yeah, the purchase link is over there, and it tells you both deals. You can go over to this page. In fact, I'll show you the page. This is the page you'll see when you go to that link. That's showing up? That's what you'll see. Deal 1 is the cash discount for $697, and Deal 2 is the $99 down and 9 payments. So let me get rid of that for you. That's what you'll see. And let's get your bonus techniques that I promised you. First one, get sponsorship money. I got my first sponsorship 25 years ago from Kroger grocery stores. Why in the heck they picked me, I have no idea. I was speaking to women's groups, showing them all the new products that Kroger had. I couldn't even cook. I don't know why, but that was a sponsorship. They paid me for that. Fast forward about 15 years, I got the easiest job ever in my life. Was $100,000 from one of the largest websites in the world that was owned by CBS as a spokesperson. I did the same speech 30 times in a row. Very simple. Didn't have to customize. And I demanded that they don't do them on weekends. They bulked them together, 5 different cities, 6 speeches per city, some of them 2 in the same day, $100,000 sponsorship. All right. Dottie was telling me about this lady that spoke about the health benefits of soy. Now, from what I understand, soy is not as good as it's cracked up to be, and if there's any soy salesmen out there, sorry, but there's a lot of negative stuff about soy come out. But anyway, this lady got paid by 9 different people, 9 different non-competitive vendors of soy products to just speak. And she could have gotten her speaking fee also. So you can, what you have to do is think about what people that sell stuff would like to be in front of the audience that you speak to. And then approach them. And if it's not too, I mean, they do this all the time, every day, so why not you? I remember Willie Jolly up in D.C. Used to get sponsorship money from Mystic Beverages. He did the Mystic Motivational Minute on the radio, and then they'd give him beverages, and I assume they gave him cash every time he spoke to a youth group, and pass out Mystic Beverages. See? So get sponsorship money is a way to increase the take on any speaking engagement. All right, next super bonus tip. Book paid consultations on your trips to different cities for your speaking engagement. So many times, now not so much lately because I'm extremely busy, but before I would have clients and I'd be, let's say, speaking in Pittsburgh. I'd contact the clients in Pittsburgh and say, hey, I'm going to be in your area, so there won't be any travel charges. Do you need any coaching or consultation? And frequently I'd pick up extra money on the same trip from my coaching clients. That just, I mean, I do most of it by phone, but a lot of people just really like to see you in person. And that made me a lot of extra money for a lot of years. Every time I would go to a city, I would work extra coaching and consulting in, and the travel was already paid from the event. All right, last one, super bonus tip. Junkets. Now, that might not mean anything to you, but there are some speakers trying to do this now, fraudulently, I might add. But I invented this years and years ago. This is basically, I would be going to a speaking engagement, and I would tell other speakers, listen, I can take 3 people with me, you pay a certain fee, and I train you before we go to the speaking engagement. During the speaking engagement, you see all the things that I check and all the things that I do, and afterwards I debrief it. You can travel with me if our schedules match, and they would pay me for this. I just revamped this recently because, you know, I do have some dead time on the road when I'm traveling, and I have all this knowledge to give people. So you think about what emerging speakers, even if you're not a speaker trainer, you could still make money by emerging speakers that couldn't get this experience anywhere else. So any one of you that speaks could do this because you can talk to them on the phone about how you're preparing. You don't have to be a presentation skills expert to do this. You can meet them there, show them the room setup, show them the on-stage technology, the microphones, and all the stuff nobody ever showed them. And people will pay for this kind of experience. So I have slots available. It's not really part of this webinar tonight, but if you want details, you can see the cities I'm going to be in. I have 3. I just announced these like yesterday. So I have 3 slots available in each city. This is not a $2 thing. So it's about it's $49.95 to do this. But check it out anyway when you get a chance. Antion.com/training junket. .htm, Antion.com/training junket.htm. So your 3 super bonuses, and also that's my cell phone number there if you want to call and discuss that particular thing, 301-346-7403. And anytime you email me at orders@antion.com, always copy Stephanie at Antion.com because I get enormous volumes of email, and I want to make sure that I don't miss important email from you. So Antion.com/trainingjunket.htm. All right, there's your 3 super bonuses. Don't forget your deals. The first 10 of each deal gets extra consultations and all those other bonuses. Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Okay, so that concludes our presentation. So now I'm going to stay on for, we'll set the timer for, I don't know, let's say 40 minutes. And I'm going to answer questions as long as you want me. Let's set this timer at 40, and we'll start it. And then, Colin, do we have questions that I need to address? I know we've got enormous numbers that came in. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this bigger so I can see them. Okay, and any ones you put in now, I'll see them very easily, but we have hundreds and hundreds, heck yeses and stuff in here.
Can leadership be considered a hard topic?
Okay, can leadership be considered a hard topic? That's an excellent question because in the past it was considered a soft topic, but it took a change right about the time Enron hit, where ethics and leadership and ethical leadership came to the forefront, where it was usually pushed to the background. So leadership can be a hard topic nowadays because of all the ethics, and the leaders have to be motivating to their troops, and so leadership absolutely can be a hard topic. What else? Okay, the question is do I put the isolation room in my agreement? Answer is absolutely yes. Now, there are times when it makes sense for me to stay in the room I'm at, especially if there's no room available very close to the main meeting room. It's too hard to move people too far. But most of the time, it's in my it's always in my agreement that I have to have that. But when I see the situation, when I get there, I've got to be flexible for the best sales. So if I see that it didn't make sense, or if they tell me ahead of time the room was too far away, I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We'll have it in the corner of the main meeting room. There'll be no music play. My microphone will stay hot. If people want to go to the restroom or don't want to hear my stuff, great. But we'll keep it in the main room. So sometimes I vary, but it's always in my agreement. What's the best way to get your speaking career started? Well, it's right there in front of you, the Wake 'em Up speaking system, of course. Well, I teach people to start doing fundraisers, and these aren't the kind of fundraisers that where you speak for free and cross your fingers that somebody sees you and hires you. These are fundraisers where you get a group to promote you to their members as a fundraiser, and you split the money. Now, the Ultimate Guidebook that many of you bought, that method is in there. But that's the best way because you don't have to be a big name, because a lot of people will buy tickets just because it's a fundraiser for the church or for the Kiwanis or Boys Club or something. And it's more important that your topic is there and that you're tied to a group that has clout with their members. And that's a great way to get started because it's low risk for everybody. And I'll tell you how powerful this is. I've done this about, 90, 100 times in my career. And some of the groups, I saved a group in Los Angeles one time from going under. And they have a mandate that they only have a speaker once. That's the mandate. I've been there 6 times, okay, because every time I went, I made the money. See, so this is one of the most powerful ways to get started. Is there a copy of my speaking agreement? That is included as a bonus in the Ultimate Guide to Professional Speaking, and you can't really see this anywhere else unless you were in on the inside of a big seminar and saw the speakers agreements, you couldn't possibly see this one. Now, this one isn't so good for paid speaking because it has most of the stuff that applies to back of the room sales and all these other things. But it's available in the Ultimate Guide book.
Are there any suggestions how to harden relationship topics?
Okay, is there any suggestions on how to harden relationship topics? Well, the thing is if you're talking about male-female dating type things, you wouldn't be going to the place where they worry about hard topics. Corporations are not going to hire you to speak about dating and getting along better with your spouse. I mean, it'd be a big rarity. So there's no need to harden that topic. I was talking about paid corporate type speaking where they have to have a bottom line return on investment. So you don't have to worry about making it a hard topic, but you do have to wonder, where am I going to speak consistently? So if you are talking about business relationships, that's a whole different thing. Colin's shaking his head that, yeah, that, yes, that is clearly can be made into a hard topic because people do business with people they like. I mean, all the cliches you've heard about that. And so when you're pitching it, the relationship stuff, I wouldn't lead to the forefront. I would lead with, this will make more money if I can teach your sales team to have better long-term commitments and I guess you have to use the term relationships with customers. It'll make you more money. So yes, it can be if it's business related. And networking also is not too hard to push over into the hard topic side.
You've spoken for years but did not get the proper testimonials, pictures, and videos. How would you go about making up for those lost opportunities?
Okay, if you've spoken for years and haven't gotten the testimonials and videos and all those things, shame on you, first of all, but now's the time to make up for that. So I would call the best people that love you the most and try to relive some of that with them and see if they'll at least give you something on their letterhead. Just whatever you can salvage from the background of where you were speaking. But the point is, from now, you just got to start now, and every single opportunity, you've got to think of the business end of it and get those things captured. But I would just go to my happiest clients that I still have the best relationships with and see what they're willing to do for you.
Is this program appropriate for people who are not speakers yet?
Is this program appropriate for people that are not speakers yet? Absolutely it is, because I get so many people that have been taught wrong, and then I got to clean up their messes before I can teach them how to do things right. So if you want an absolute jump start to learn how to do this properly, not have to bomb 100 times before you learn why you bomb, and all of those things, absolutely this is one of the most important things you could possibly have as a new speaker. That's why it's the best-selling one ever in the history of the Internet.
What should we call ourselves if we don't want to position ourselves as trainers?
Oh, okay, yeah. What should we call ourselves if we don't want to be positioned as trainers? Seminar leaders, special event speakers, experts on whatever your topic is. So I'm an Internet marketing expert. I've also got a moniker called the King of Ka-Ching. That's another thing we teach about monikers. But I'm never a trainer. I'm a special event speaker, seminar leader, or expert.
What's the best way to test multiple topics
Efficiently? Well, the thing, what worries me about the question is, why are you speaking on so many different topics? Are you just trying to grab a topic that's hot? And I hear that so many times I want to get an air sickness bag out. Because I want you to speak about something that you lived and can do and not worry about what's hot, because what's hot could not be hot tomorrow, and then you're searching to be another expert again. So first of all, I don't really like the question. I want you to pick something that you can become an expert in or you already are an expert in and mold it to the marketplace. So that's the first thing. Now, there is a way online to test titles for things, because you're actually testing titles, not topics. Topics is secondary to the title. And there's certain kind of pop-up boxes that will only people can click on them once, and then they disappear forever. And then you just count which title got the most clicks, and that would give you an idea of what's most popular. And then also you can do keyword searches on the internet. But try to forget about just testing which is better, and go for one that you can be really great at and get behind for a long period of time.
I've already written a book. What's the next best product I should create to multiply the value of my topic?
Okay, I've already written a book. This is a question. What's the next best product I should create to multiply the value of the topic? Well, immediately you should start a coaching mentor program. Now, in my field, where I have my mentees pay me $50,000 out of their profits, out of the mentees that paid me the fastest, they all started their own very legitimate coaching mentor program, because the fees immediately can be very high because people want one-on-one, they want group coaching, they want mentorship, they want mastermind groups and things like that, and they will pay for it. So that's the biggest amount of money you can get spin off from the book. Then I would immediately get good at recording audio off your computer. If you got a Mac, it's GarageBand, and if you got a PC, we use Sony Sound Studio. And get a decent microphone, and then spin it off into audio products, because they have a higher perceived value, and you get more money for them for the same amount of information. So coaching, mentoring, those kinds of things, and audio would be the next ones.
Young lady asks if you're married.
The question comes in, am I married? And I say, no, I never made the same mistake once.
How long are your consultations? A half hour?
The consultations are generally half an hour, but I am not much of a clock watcher. So if we're into something really important for you and I'm not booked on the next half hour, then, you know, I don't count. I'm more interested in your success, not making it easier on myself, which is opposite of what you find in the marketplace. I'm only interested in your success, but they're generally about 30 minutes, and you're welcome to email me stuff ahead of time, your questions, so I can even go faster. And if you need me to look at a website or something, also you can just email that ahead of time. On day or night, I can look at it before we talk and really make your time with me very, very efficient.
What about corporations who hire you to do training and they have 30 and 45-day requirements for payment?
Okay, what about corporations that have 30 and 45-day requirements for payment? Okay, that's a little different situation than keynote type speaking. So sometimes you just have to go with the flow, but you have to have a solid contract that you're going to get paid one way or the other. If they cancel the date, you have a cancellation clause with a certain amount of money put in there, so you're going to get paid. A corporation, a big one, is not going to screw you out of the money. They're going to screw you by making you wait forever, but that's something you're going to have to go with, because that's just the nature of the beast. But that's typically not the way it works with keynote speaking. When they have an event where they have a big speaker, they know they got to pay. There's no playing games with 30 to 45 days. But that's, again, when you're positioned as a trainer, they fool with you. They say, oh, well, we can push that person. They're not going to do anything. We'll just get another trainer. So sometimes you got to go with the flow. Okay, some suggestions on using YouTube. In fact, I believe Karen Buxman, who's on here, was a great speaker, CPAE, which is the highest level that you can get in the speaking industry. You know, you shoot YouTube videos, but you shoot them based on keywords. You don't just shoot videos because you have a great idea, because nobody will find them. So you have to learn to do keyword research. And then the whole idea of the video is not to prove how smart you are. From most people, you need to shut up a little bit and get them down below 2 minutes with a call to action with some kind of freebie on your website to come get, and register for, and then see all your stuff on your website. So that's the way we use YouTube. And I see some in here, people were asking for the link again. It's Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. Antion.com/speaker webinar deal. And what's that? Oh, yeah, my timer is blocking the link. I messed up there, sorry. Okay, and okay, what's the next one there, Colin?
Can you say your email address again for people?
Email is orders, O-R-D-E-R-S, @Antion.com, orders@Antion.com, and you copy it to Stephanie, S-T-E-P-H-A-N-I-E, Stephanie @Antion.com. And so anybody that's, you know, we didn't get our ka-ching going here because I was so crazy with this this webinar, but any of you that's purchased, just email or no, put in your question box why you know, what you're going to do with this material. And it's really so important that you implement. And I know a lot of people say, well, I got it, Tom. I'm going to put all this stuff into play. Well, okay. I talked pretty fast, and I know we had a thing, but you know, you're going to lose your notes, and you know, you really need some follow-up. And one thing that I've found many times is that the fact that people are going to talk to me on the phone means they get off their butt and actually get busy because they know I'm going to ask them what the heck's going on. Let's see. I see. What was the name of the sound studio? Sony SoundForge Audio Studio. Sony SoundForge Audio Studio. And so we see someone wrote in that they're going to use the information to adding speaking to my new retirement career. That's a great idea. And Ruth is saying, what's the minimum speakers should ask for when first going to speak in the corporate arena? Oh, okay. Well, you know, you really got to be. I don't break anybody in less than 1,500 for anything, but even that would be suspect to a corporation. So I suggest, and there's no hard fast rules in this, that it's 2,500 or more, because remember, I want you to raise your fee, and then you can negotiate. Like, let's say I know I did one at a college. I needed some video footage. Here's another tip for you, of a really big, beautiful theater where I'm speaking. So this theater in this college had 60-foot high velvet curtains and, I don't know, 6-foot high raised stage and 300 seats and gorgeous theater. And I needed that kind of footage. So they called me up, and at the time I was 1,500. I was just starting out, and I desperately needed this video footage. So they only had 500. So what did I do? I said, well, do you have a video production department? What was their answer? Absolutely. We're always looking for projects. I said, okay, I'll do it for 500 if you shoot with 3 cameras and mic the audience, and I gave them all the parameters that we teach you on how to get book videos of yourself. I mean, because if you leave a couple things out, you're going to have a crappy video. And so I took the 500, they videotaped, they edited it, and I sat in on the editing, and I got a beautiful demo tape that I used for years in this big, beautiful theater. See? So that's why you keep your fee high, so that you still get some money when you know, when you have to negotiate like that. And Denise says, I'm going to implement my Sony SoundForge recordings and send my pitch to you. I'm going to pitch as many nonprofits as possible. Great. Glad to help you with that. Lorene says, how many speakers bureaus should a speaker put their press kit on? Oh, I didn't even get into speakers bureaus, well, because that's a whole different animal, but I'm totally against new speakers even attempting to go to speakers bureaus. It's a lesson in futility unless you get really, really lucky. And I'm talking lucky like hitting the lottery. Because, first of all, speakers bureaus work on commission. So if you're an unproven speaker and don't have a big track record of high-fee speaking engagements, you don't have a chance in hell of getting booked by them. In fact, the bad ones will just charge you money to be in showcases. Now, not that all showcases are bad. I don't want to say that. But there's a lot of fraudulent ones that have no intention of booking you, and they charge you $700 to be in a showcase, and then no meeting planners show up. So just think of it this way. If you were a speakers bureau, and let's say IBM decided to book 100 speeches with you, and you had to provide 100 speakers, and you're a new speaker, and you think that speakers bureau is going to put you up in front of IBM, because if you bomb, they lose the contract for the other 99 speakers. So until you're, the old saying in the speaking industry is until you don't need them, that's when they call you. Now, if you really want speakers bureaus, go beat them out for a few jobs, and then call them up and say, hey, I know you were up for that job with IBM, and I happen to get it, so I'm just wondering if you'd like to work with me. You know, that'll get their attention if you've beaten them out for jobs. But just don't spend a lot of time on them if you don't have the credentials already. What do you got?
Generally pay travel expenses on top of speaking fees?
Question is, do they generally pay travel expenses? Yes, they do. Paid speaking engagements are usually plus expenses. Now, there's a couple ways to handle expenses. One is you give actual expenses, and they pay you maybe a couple weeks after you turn the expenses in. And now that can be really good because, see, you get points on your credit card that somebody else is paying the bill. So if you want to play that game, that can really work well for you, because I have, at my peak, I think before I started using them, I had 1.8 million points on my Amex card. See, so that can be a good way to do it. However, there's some places that would like you to just give a flat fee. Now, that can also work in your favor because let's say you say, okay, it's just a flat fee for $1,000 for airfare, taxi, airport parking, meals, everything. Well, you might not eat very much. The parking is probably not that much. And maybe you got points that you can fly there for free. So you make out, and it's perfectly legitimate. If they ask for a flat fee, but it's not legitimate for you to bill them for the airfare and then get it for free when they're asking for exact expenses. That's not legitimate. But so those are the two ways, and yes, that's typically included. Now, when I speak at some of these public events, I almost always pay everything myself. All my printing, my handouts, my hotel, my airfare, everything. So it's a pretty serious deal for me to go there. In fact, I hate going to New York. It's hard for me to get in and out of there, and taxis and all that stuff. And it costs me sometimes about $5,000 to just show up because of my airfare, my assistant's airfare. The rooms are really expensive. Taxis, transfers, all that stuff. Shipping all my stuff, you know, so all my products. So those things are a different animal. So you better have your act together to sell at the back of the room when you do that. All right. How do you get to speak at colleges? Well, first of all, they have budgets for speakers, and they have showcases, and I think it's called NACA. There are places that do regular showcases, but you can actually just contact the college yourself, ask. But there's so darn many people in colleges. I mean, that's a good thing in some ways, that can hire you to speak. The sororities and fraternities can book you. All the different departments can book you. The activities committee. So there's just plenty of places to speak at colleges. But probably your first thing is if you could get a slot on that those showcases that are legitimate for colleges. Like I think it's NACA, NACA, National something of College. Then you can be in front of all the buyers. And I haven't seen because I don't do the college speaking. I've heard of speakers booking 5, 10, 15 jobs right there on the spot. So I would look up those associations.
Do you recommend offering a satisfaction guarantee?
Do I recommend offering a satisfaction guarantee? Absolutely, because you better rock and roll them and knock them dead. And I've only had it invoked one time in my whole career, and I found out later it was a setup, that somebody in the organization took me on a secret limo ride. She says, you know, I don't want people here hearing what we talk about, because they really need a strong message from you. So I got up and delivered this strong message that she told me to do, and they wanted to throw me out of the place. And then she said, oh, I didn't have anything to do with it. We shouldn't pay him. So she was a weasel that wanted her agenda across, and when it didn't fly, she blamed it on me. So that was the only time they asked for their money back, until I wrote this big thing about how I was going to expose what she had done to the brass, and then she disappeared and they dropped the whole thing. But it wasn't good for my reputation. So the lesson I learned is clear anything like that with 2 or 3 or 4 people to make sure it's good.
Did you have an assistant come with you and ask the company to pay for your help and
Okay, so should you have an assistant come with you? When you're at a paid event, you don't really need an assistant. I mean, it's cool if you bring one, but it'll be on your dime. Unless you're a big celebrity that they're going to fly in first class, and you know, Michael Jordan or somebody, that's different. But as a regular journeyman type speaker, even semi-celebrity, I wouldn't dare ask them to pay for my assistant. And then the second thing is, on the ones that I speak at now that are public engagements, I don't ask them at all, because they don't pay for anything. I pay for everything, assistance and everything.
you still encourage one to attend Toastmasters?
Do I encourage people to attend Toastmasters? Well, I have a love-hate relationship with Toastmasters, and I don't believe I've ever encouraged anybody, so I wouldn't say still. Here's my problem with Toastmasters, because like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with them. I think they're the greatest thing in the world if you can just barely stand up there and you're nervous and you need a pat on the back and a self-esteem boost, and no matter what you do, somebody's going to encourage you, and I think that's wonderful that that's available. But when you cross the line, and some of them do, to think they have any clue what professional speaking is all about, that's when I say you guys are idiots. Because let me tell you my favorite Toastmaster story. I was in Dallas. In fact, it was the speech that you saw me, that lady sitting there with holding the toilet paper on her finger. I got a 2 to 3 minute standing ovation. They begged me not to quit. They're lined up out in the parking lot to get the book signed. I got $5,000 for the hour, which is 15 years ago. Big money in those days. And this Toastmaster guy waited in line for half an hour to tell me he didn't think I was very professional because my coat was unbuttoned and I said I'm an awe 6 times. I mean, totally clueless. I mean, in some ways it's a brainwashing institution. I mean, I got an award for them one time from the for the non-Toastmaster for the New England or Northeast region or something, and I witnessed one of their speech contests, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, because I've critiqued literally thousands of speakers, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, my God, these people would get laughed off the stage in any professional setting. I mean, they were articulate, their gestures were timed perfectly. It looked like a Shakespearean play to me, actually. But that's not what the real world of speaking is about. The real world of speaking is impact on the audience, period. I don't care if you get up there and fart, all right, as long as you move that audience to action. So that's the problem I have. If you need a place to practice, again, you got to be careful because you got people that stink as speakers generally critiquing you. Now, they do have a couple professional Toastmaster clubs, which is a whole different animal, but that's very rare. So so that's the thing about Toastmasters. When they don't know anything about the business of speaking, and audience impact is more important than you looking like a robot up there.
How important is it to have a book published, or should we focus on more expensive products?
A book is very important for publicity reasons. You can't send an e-book to a radio station and get on, all right, or the Today Show. So a book is important for those types of things, and credibility. We hand them out like business cards nowadays if you print them cheap enough. But the more lucrative products are where you make the big money. So the book is the most hassle least profitable on its own, but it leads to other big money things. So it's very important that you have one. But I want you to have a good one. So many people are teaching them to make these little crap ones, and I don't want you to just say you're an author. In fact, I got on tape somebody claiming, this is one of the bad assholes I'm going after, I got him on tape telling people that I don't even write the book. I just tell people I'm an author and get credit for it and don't write it unless I desperately want it, and then I just slap something together. Now, that is totally unethical. So you don't want a crappy little book. So if you're going to do a book, do a good book, and yes, it'll help you. Oh, excuse me. By the way, you don't have to have it to get started speaking, though. You can be started speaking just on your topic alone. What kind of show is it? It's not. Yeah. So answer is generally yes until I hear the nature of the show, because I have had people on these things ask me, and shows were totally out in left field, crazy shows. So if it's a legitimate show, I'm on board.
What organizations are best for speaking about retirement planning topics? How do you identify them, and how do you approach them?
What organizations are best on talking about retirement planning? Well, this is a tough one, because it's hard to get a group of people like that together. I mean, ARP comes to mind, but how many speaking engagements can ARP give you? So that's a very tough topic, and that might lend itself more to small, low-cost public seminars that you advertise in the media, Facebook, and your neighborhoods, and so forth, because it's just really tough to get a group of people together. Now, you can get mailing lists, but again, it starts to get very risky. So that's a tough one. It's going to be hard to get paid speaking in corporations for that, because the economy's not booming, and they're worried about making their own payroll, not their employees. So one little sidebar tip you could do with that is a lot of companies are downsizing. Then you could, and they're given severance packages and early retirements. So part of the deal, if it was a big company and had a lot of people that they were going to offer early retirement, then they might, it might be cheap for them to throw you in there to help the transition for those people. But that's it's a tougher one, because it's an older age group, and you certainly have retirement homes, but getting rich on that market's a tough road to hoe.
If you have a book about personal development, but it's fiction, and the characters are explaining that, is that good enough to go forward with a speaking career?
All right, talking about a personal development book, but it's fiction. Well, there's been loads of those, right? Who Moved My Cheese, the Celestine Prophecy. I mean, I can't think of all of them, because I don't read that kind of stuff much. But there's been big careers made off of that stuff. So what was the rest of the question?
Well, could you use a fiction book to go forward with a speaking career?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Can you use a fiction book? Absolutely, because there's been so many things that led the way for you that were based on fables. I mean, look at the Rich Dad, Poor Dad stuff. I mean, that's basically a fable. I've seen some really bad stuff about that guy, and that it's mostly fiction, apparently, because nobody seems to be able to confirm all the things he's claiming. So I think he pretty much made it up. I can't, again, you probably sue me for saying that, but I'm just saying this is what I think, and this is what I've heard, that it's not factually based. But look at the giant, is worldwide with that Rich Dad, Poor Dad stuff. So absolutely, you can go forth with a fiction book. Is there an affiliate link for the replay? Well, it's not really affiliate link for the replay. It'd be affiliate link for people that bought stuff. And so, yeah, anybody that's interested in promoting my stuff can email me later, and we'll send you an affiliate link.
Do you have a general length for what you consider a book should be, or is it based on content?
All right, do we have a general length that we consider for a book? Well, first of all, a lot of people are promoting these little short books, and like 96 pages. I'm not in favor of those, other than maybe for airport type books where they're on a rack at the airport for very quick reads. But to really get credibility in a corporate or serious market, you can't get it for that kind of book. So you're looking at one at least double that length. But if it gets too giant, then of course still nobody's going to read it. So somewhere in the 200 pages is probably fine for your credibility.
Any suggestions for speaking to promote financial healing seminars?
Any suggestions on speaking to promote financial healing seminars? Well, I'm not sure exactly what financial healing is, but again, it's going to be a very, no corporation is going to book that kind of topic. So it's almost like the retirement a little bit. And then also, it's just really tough if it's financial healing. That means they're financially sick, and they're not going to have the money to pay you big money for things. So I think I would try to find some different titles for that, and on wealth building to the positive side rather than fixing up people that are broke. And not that they don't need it, and not that it wouldn't be a wonderful service, but my job is to lead you to the biggest money for you in a legitimate and ethical fashion. And dealing with people that are broke is, unless you rip them off like a lot of the debt consolidation people, it's a tough way to make a lot of money for yourself.
Do you have any suggestions about where to speak for marketing, NLP, and NLP-related topics?
Do I have any suggestions where to speak for NLP and marketing NLP-related topics? Well, this would be an example of turning it into a hard topic. How salespeople can use NLP to increase their sales 25% next year. So anything you take to the hard side, and if you can legitimately apply it, which you should easily be able to do with NLP topics, makes it more saleable. But, NLP has a little bit of a woo-woo factor to it. So taking it to a very conservative company, you may have to just rename it to something else and then still talk about the same topics, but try to keep the term NLP out of it, because some conservative places will just have nothing to do with you. They hear that kind of stuff.
Would it be better to form an LLC or an S corporation?
Okay. Yeah, I have no ability to talk to you about whether you should have an LLC, a corporation, any of that stuff. Because, first of all, I'm not an accountant. I'm going to give you an opinion here in a second, but I'm not an accountant and I'm not an attorney, so I'm not qualified. However, my opinion is, which I just recently had confirmed by a person that sells LLCs and so forth, I said, they haven't been tested in the courts. You got all these scammer asset protection people out there telling you about LLCs, but corporations have been tested in the courts for hundreds of years. LLCs are basically brand new, and there's not enough law to say and precedent to say, well, you're really protected XYZ if you do ABC with an LLC. I like all those acronyms. So I'm much more comfortable with a good corporation, but S or C, you got to get with your accountant on this.
Tax-free wealth strategies, is that a good topic to speak about?
Tax-free wealth strategies. That's a great topic for public seminars, but again, no corporation is going to book that. So you're going to go into the public paid or public not paid speaking arena. You're going to work up a course or a mentor program or something to be able to sell that regularly. Nobody's going to buy that. When I say nobody, it doesn't mean you couldn't trip on some group that would pay you. It means you just couldn't make a regular living in the corporate arena getting paid for that topic. Unless now it would be possible if it was cash management for mid-sized corporations, but that didn't sound like what you're talking about.
Should we invoice our speaking fees in one company and our intellectual property in another in case we get sued?
Well, first of all, the question is should we separate things in case we get sued? And none of that's going to matter too much unless you seriously run your corporation and sit down quarterly and have meetings with yourself, and because a good attorney is going to cut through any kind of half-assed stuff you put together to protect yourself. So your best bet is to just get errors and omissions insurance, and then let them worry about it. You know, you're trying to play these games about getting sued. Well, if you get sued, you know, the question is, what'd you do wrong to get sued? So, you know, I've never been sued for this stuff ever. It might happen because of my, you know, I'm going after these bad guys, but a good attorney will cut through, like, you know, a hot knife through butter, any half-assed stuff you set up that thinking you're protecting yourself. Okay, so we're down to about 19 seconds, and I don't know if we missed anything, but if we did, please email them. Here is the page you're going to go to, Speaker Webinar Deal, and to collect on, those of you that invested, to collect on your consultations, you will email me 3 days and times you can be available. And so you can get the attorney alarm off here. I think my audio, oh yeah, I turned, no wonder we couldn't hear the ka-ching. I was wondering, where's the ka-chings? I had the audio off because of all those crazy audio programs, so we didn't hear the ka-chings coming in. But anyway, you email me 3 days and times you can be available, and I can usually confirm one of them for your consultations. And we'll ship the stuff out tomorrow to you just as soon as we get your name and address in the shopping cart. So go out and use this stuff. I'll leave the link up there for anybody that's on the fence. And if you need to talk to us, you can call our numbers if you have any questions before you invest. If not, and we'll catch you on the next webinar. See you later.